check, radio check, loud and clear. Thank you everyone for tuning in and welcome along to the coverage of the Spanish Grand Prix. We are 45 minutes away from the race start. We have got a lot of action up ahead of us and a two-stop strategy to discuss. It's going to be very, very exciting indeed. And we'll have the drivers making their way out onto the circuit very, very shortly to do their installation laps, making sure everything in the car is working as expected. And then we will have the race, of course, starting in 45 minutes. Hello. We've already got 1,500 people tuned into live stream, which is fantastic. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Thanks everyone for hitting the like button and subscribing. Okay, so first things first, Lance Stroll is not taking part in this race here. As you can see, we've only got 19 drivers up on the screen on the left-hand side, and that is correct. Lance Stroll is not taking part. He has got a wrist injury. Well, he had a wrist injury last year that he got from a cycling crash that he got surgery for, and then I think only missed one race or something, and then got straight back into driving. And that wrist injury has been getting progressively worse and worse and worse over the past couple of weeks, which meant that Stroll had to go into surgery to get that fixed and to prevent any more further issues occurring. And that is why that's why he is not taking part in today's race. And the unfortunate thing is, because he did all of free practice 1, 2, 3 and then quali as well, Felipe Drogovic is not able to step in. Let's consider, between FP3 and quali, he decided that he wasn't going to take part. Then Felipe Drogovic could at least join in quali and then step in for the rest of the race. But the rules dictate that the driver that's going to drive in the race has to have done at least one session from free practice 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, free practice 1, 2, 3 and quali. And Felipe Drogovic has not done any of those sessions, so unfortunately he is not allowed to take part. Yeah, very unfortunate that the GOAT, is not driving here, but what can you do? Sometimes this is just the way things are. All right, a couple of other things. We have got track temperatures extremely hot here in Barcelona, 49 degrees. It is a guaranteed two-stop here, ladies and gentlemen, guaranteed two-stop. It is going to be very, very exciting indeed. The predicted strategy by Pirelli is also very interesting. Mainly due to the fact that no team, not a single driver, has two sets of medium tire. Oh no, not a single driver has two sets of hard tires. There are three drivers that have two sets of medium tires. That is Charles Leclerc, Oliver Behrman and Esteban Ocon. These three drivers have two sets of mediums, so they could use that for the race. But apart from that, every driver has got one set of hard tyre and one set of medium tyre, which means that quite likely what we're going to see is the drivers start the race on a set of softs, which, well, they're going to wear out super duper fast. We saw the teams do some long runs, and within about 6, 7, 8 laps, they were all gone in terms of their tyre wear. So, yeah, the drivers will be, of course, very careful and wary of that, and it's going to be a very interesting race. Some teams will go directly onto the hard tyre, some teams will go onto the mediums after their first stop, and that's going to mix things up. So a two-stop strategy is guaranteed for today. All right, we need an Alonso race win. Alonso, of course, yesterday in quali, he did quite a good lap and then put himself up into P5. And then after all, once all of the laps came through, it ended up not being that quick and he was demoted down to 10th position. But we've got our first driver now approaching the pit lane. Max Verstappen is lining up on the end of the pits, as you can see there up on the screen. And we'll have the pit lane exit opening in a couple of seconds. Liam Lawson making his way out as well. Alright, guys, how do I watch F1 for cheap? The best way to watch Formula 1 for a cheap price is to use Surfshark VPN. There's a link in the description. You get Surfshark VPN, you join an Austrian VPN server, then you search ORF onto Google, and then you make an account, you log in, and then you can watch Formula 1 for only $2 a month. It's $2 for Surfshark, and if you connect to an Austrian VPN, ORF is free. So that's the way to do it. We've got around 300 people using it on the channel right now, and it does work. So go ahead and check that one out. Okay. There's a link in the description for the Surfshark VPN. Tsunoda predictions. Ooh, that's a tough one. Well, he's going to be starting in 19th place, and he's going to have a lot of ground to make up. So there was actually some sort of press statements that came out after Tsunoda qualified, in dead last, and the statement essentially was just saying that the Red Bull engineers had picked an experimental setup for Yuki Tsunoda's car, which meant that, yeah, they picked an experimental setup and the setup wasn't giving any grip. It still doesn't really make that much sense, because if they picked an experimental setup and they realized it was giving him no grip, then they could have realized that in free practice 1, they could have realized that in free practice 2, they could have realized that in free practice 3, but they decide to go into quali still with this experimental setup that they know doesn't work. And yeah, and then Tsunoda qualified in 19th position. So it wasn't the smartest decision really by the Red Bull crew. I think what they were hoping for was that Tsunoda would like clutch up right at the end and would actually stick it on, get a good lap in. But the setup just was not the way where it should have been, and it was an experimental setup after all. So yeah, unfortunate there for Tsunoda. And I don't know if he's going to start from the pit lane. He might want to start from the pit lane. That will give him the chance to change the setup and actually give him some grip over the course of a lap. But we'll see what the Red Bull team do. Okay, I have disabled adverts, so hopefully no more adverts for anyone watching. You will get one advert at the start normally. I can't do anything about that one, unfortunately. YouTube just wants to show you that advert, but any advert during the live stream itself hopefully will all be blocked. Okay. Are the radios working right now, or is it the same as last week? No, the radios will be working. The radios only start, though, at the start of the race, or maybe like 10 minutes before the start of the race. So yeah, that's why it currently says no transcriptions there. I put these other radios up at the end of quali because there's some interesting things to talk about there. George Russell says P4 not as bad. Let's just start here, and I think basically what he's implying is that the run down from the starting grid all the way to turn number 1 is very long, and in fact being P4 on the grid is quite a nice advantage, to be honest. He will have a slipstream. There is a chance to make it 4 wide. Max Verstappen, in the interviews after the quali session, was like, I'll make it a really nice image for the photographers down into turn number 1, basically implying that he's going to be going 3 wide into turn 1, and George Russell might make it 4 wide, who knows. But the track is definitely wide enough, unlike Monaco, and of course this is why proper dedicated race circuits are good for the sport, and we'll have a lot of action up ahead. So looking forward to it. Okay. Which football team do you support? Not really. I don't really support a football team, but I did see the PSG versus Inter game yesterday. Well, I didn't see it. I looked at the final score and the highlights, and they got destroyed, didn't they? All right. What else? The drivers are out on the circuit now. They're doing their install laps. They're just checking everything in the car is working properly as expected, and then they're going to be parking up on the start finish line, getting ready to actually go racing. So they're just coming in and out of the grid, checking all the systems work in the car, the cooling packages and everything like that, and then they'll line up on the starting grid in time for the race start. Lance has got wrist pain, making sure that he would be available for Canada. They said that he had this pain for 6 weeks before Spain. Him getting 14 points this season was goated. Yeah, no, it's really, really good for Lance Stroll, considering that he has been suffering with his wrist pain for quite a while. He's been able to drive still. Of course, there is the fact that there is power steering in these cars, which will definitely help the factor. If there's no power steering, then it would have been an absolute chore to drive with wrist pain. But Stroll has been doing a pretty decent job, and he's the only driver that scored points for Aston Martin this season. Alonso still on 0 points. He is in the last 3 races has got consecutive Q3 appearances. So he does have the performance, does have the skill and still the pace does Fernando Alonso, but his luck hasn't been on his side. He's been getting DNFs, bad strategies, and hopefully this weekend he can make it through and score some points for Aston Martin, especially at his home Grand Prix. Carlos Sainz will be starting right at the back as well, 17th position for him, quite a ways off Alex Albon. These two drivers, Albon and Sainz, have been really close to each other for the majority of the season. Unfortunately, at Sainz's home race, he ends up right at the back of the pack, so he'll have a lot of work to do, and we'll just wait and see. Since it's so hot on the track right now, doesn't that give the advantage to the McLarens with their tyre management? And Imola is relatively cool, so it gave Max an advantage. You're correct. That is correct. McLarens do have an advantage over some of the other drivers when it comes to tyre management and some of the other teams. But, we shall wait and see. That tyre advantage was before the technical directive. Of course, we saw that technical directive didn't mix that many things up. It didn't change that much. But McLaren still are the quickest, and we'll see what they can do. But if Verstappen gets into the lead at turn number 1, there's no saying what will happen. And, will Piastri leave the door open like he did in Imola? I think Piastri wasn't really expecting anyone to try and swoop around the outside. He was much more concerned on defending against George Russell into Imola turn number 1, which then resulted in him losing the position to Max. But maybe he will have learned his lesson probably from that one, and then be a bit more wary of where Max is. And then, if he is trying to overtake around the outside, then he can just show him the exit of the circuit and run him off the road, because that is, of course, allowed. Is the circuit high tyre wear? Indeed it is. Track temperature's up at 49 degrees, and the circuit is relatively rough as well, which will result in high tyre wear. Alright, F1 Gamer, do you have Lewis for the podium? I mean, maybe. It really depends on what the Red Bull's race pace is like. Their quali pace, of course, was pretty good, but obviously not up to scratch. Maybe their race pace is better, maybe their race pace is worse. We'll have to wait and see. George Russell as well is gonna be a tough challenge for Lewis Hamilton to get past. Does Red Bull experimenting during the race mean that they themselves now believe that the second seat can't catch up to Max? I don't really know why they picked an experimental setup for Yuki Tsunoda. It doesn't make all that much sense. So I guess we'll see what I don't know. If they start from the pit lane, then Tsunoda will have changed back to a setup that's a little bit more stable and has a little bit more grip. But if he starts from the actual circuit, then he still have the experimental setup, which will not bode well, really, considering that all 3 practice sessions and qualifying, he had no grip whatsoever. So I don't see that improving much. Okay, also I'll put the championship scores up on the screen. As you can see, we have got quite a few drivers here. Well, we've got all 20 drivers, and in fact 21. Jack Doohan should be on there as well. But yeah, in the lead of the Drivers' Championship, we have got Oscar Piastri with 161 points, Lando Norris with 158, 3 points between those two drivers, and Max Verstappen in 136 points. He's quite a ways back, 22 points to be exact off Lando Norris and 25 points to be off the back of Oscar Piastri. So you know what would be really convenient here for Max Verstappen? If the two McLarens crash in towards turn number 4, it would be a fantastic anniversary for his 9th win. Fantastic anniversary for his 9 years on from his first win in Formula 1 in a very similar fashion, where the two Mercedes drivers crashed into each other and he went on to take the win in 2016 Spain. Maybe that'll happen again. But yeah, Max Verstappen, 136 points for him. George Russell as well, he's on 99 points. He's pretty much out of contention over the championship unless, there's some miracle performance that Mercedes can bring. However, in Saudi Arabia, they were really struggling for tyre wear in the hot conditions, and here in Barcelona, it's no different. So we'll see what the Mercedes can do. They have brought upgrades this weekend, very, very major upgrades to that, and if those major upgrades work well, then maybe there's a chance and maybe their tyre wear will be better. If not, then they will be out at George Russell will be in this sort of no man's land. He'll be quicker than both Ferrari drivers, but then slower than the top 3. Are these practice laps? Yeah, the drivers sort of practice laps. They're just getting their cars checked and everything sorted in time for the start of the race. And as you can see, Piastri's already lined up on his grid position. And there is a super duper long run from the start-finish line all the way towards turn number 1 here. How many reconnaissance laps are the drivers allowed to do? They're allowed to do as many as they want, as many as they can fit within the time. There's no sort of limit. Alright, I'll take you through an onboard lap of the circuit then. So, let me get rid of the championship standings first, and this. And now we should have the onboard lap displaying correctly. Okay, so you come out the final corner, you just want to get a really nice smooth exit onto the main straight. And as you can see, the starting grid is very, very early, and then you've got a very long run into turn number 1. One thing to watch out for, in fact, let me just rewind a couple of seconds. So as you're coming down the main straight here, this is the starting grid, but now on the right hand side you can see there's this pit lane entry and pit lane exit area where there's this sort of marked off section of the circuit but technically you can still drive there on the race start. Like, sure, the FIA won't be happy about it, but they're not really going to give you a penalty. So if the drivers do want to make an overtake, they can go around the outside over the pit lane exit and try and make an overtake into turn number 1. There's we've seen a couple of drivers go that wide out there, so maybe we'll see it again. And then, yes, the breaking point into turn number 1 is around the 70-meter mark, just before this 50 mark, is when the drivers will be hitting the brakes. Probably on lap number 1, they might even hit it at 50 meters because, of course, you're not coming down the main straight with all of the speed out of the final corner. You're starting from 0 kilometers per hour halfway down the straight. So the drivers can hit the brakes even later into turn 1, and then, slam on the brakes at 50 meters, and then you can probably go too wide through all of these corners here. We've seen it done before. And then, of course, you head towards turn number 4, the infamous corner back in 2016 where these two Mercedes drivers crashed. Maybe we'll see something similar happen today. But I think sort of an inter-McLaren war will begin sooner rather than later because... well, it just has to, really, because both of these drivers are fighting for the championship. They're both basically on level pegging in terms of pace and lap times, apart from yesterday. Yesterday, Piastri put in a mega lap. The qualifying margins all season long have been always lower than 1.5 tenths between first place and second place. Oscar Piastri yesterday, he was 2 tenths clear of Lando Norris in second place, and he was quite a significant amount clear of Max Verstappen in third. So, yeah, the biggest qualifying margin that we've seen between P1 and P2 was done by Oscar Piastri yesterday. So, sensational lap from him, and maybe he'll run away with it. Maybe Norris gets the lead into turn 1. Maybe it'll be Max Verstappen swooping down the inside. We'll just have to wait and see. But the best overtaking zones around this circuit are most definitely going to be down into turn number 1. So you come down the main straight. You've got a huge DRS zone there, as you can see on the track map. We've got this nice green line, and that's indicating just a huge DRS zone, which will definitely aid with the overtaking. And then also into turn number 10, you can get an overtake done there. But the main thing is, around this part of the circuit, if you're coming side by side into 1, you can go side by side through 2, through 3. We've also seen drivers go around the outside of turn number 4. It's been done before. It can be done again. Same thing for turn number 5. Because these corners are so long, there's loads of opportunities for the drivers to try go around the outside, take a different line, and catch their opponents off guard. So there is loads of opportunities, but the most common ones, I would say, down into turn 1 and down into turn number 10. Okay. Right, so that is the that's a lap of the circuit, and you can look at the driver standings as of now. In fact, I could maybe show the constructors as well. Give me a second. Yeah, okay, they're slightly cut off, but point being, we can see McLaren are in the lead by a huge margin, 319 points. That's more than double than Mercedes, who is in second place. But then Mercedes versus Red Bull versus Ferrari, look how close they are. The gap is only 5 points between Mercedes and Ferrari. So towards the end of the season, every single point is going to count. Mercedes are looking like they're going to have 2 drivers. Ferrari also have two of the best drivers on the grid, and then of course Max Verstappen seems to be the sole driver for Red Bull, and we'll just see how that turns out. But yeah, it's a one-man army for Max Verstappen. The only number 2 driver that they can have is Franz Herrmann, and I think that's the only way they're going to get any sort of performance out of that number 2 car at Red Bull. Further down the pack, we can see Williams at 54 points. So Williams are sort of in a bit of a no man's land, to be honest. They are double the points of Haas, but a third of the points of Ferrari, pretty much. So yeah, Williams are doing all right. Haas, Red Bull, Aston Martin, all very, very close. 1 or 2 good points finishes can switch up the order hugely, and we've had all 10 teams score points this season, so that's a good start. And as you can see, folks, Yuki Tsunoda is in the pit lane, and you can also see pit lane exit is closed. So Yuki Tsunoda is going to be having a modified setup. The experimental setup that he was using yesterday is not fit for race conditions. He's not going to have any grip, and the team has decided it's best to switch on to a much more stable setup. Yeah, so that's what was going on. So the reason why Tsunoda was in 19th position yesterday was because the Red Bull engineers thought that using this experimental setup might help Tsunoda. It clearly didn't help Tsunoda, and he ended up losing a whole bunch of time and had no grip whatsoever. They figured that out way too late, really, that the experimental setup wasn't going to work. So yeah, bit unfortunate for them, but they've changed off that setup. They've gone to a normal race setup, and Tsunoda will be starting from the pit lane. Drogovic is not taking part in this race, unfortunately, because Stroll took part in free practice 1, 2, 3, 4, free practice 1, 2, 3, and quali, which meant that if you want a reserve driver to step in to drive the race, they have to take part in at least one of those sessions. You know, if Drogovic had driven in FP1, he would still be allowed to take part in the race, but because he had not done a single session this weekend, he can't step in just for the final race. Okay. Stroll the goat is out. Yes, Stroll's got wrist pain. He fell off. He had a cycling incident, I think, last year, which meant that he had to get wrist surgery, and then he never really recovered from that. He did. He got put into surgery immediately, and then he was driving for the most of last season. But in the past couple of weeks, that wrist pain is back, and yeah, essentially he's got to go into surgery again to get that resolved, which is a bit of an issue. But I'm sure he'll recover in time for Canada. He'll have the best doctors supporting him, and yeah, he's not taking part in today's race. Oh, in 2023. Okay, sorry. 2023. So it's a long time ago, really. 2 years before he's had that surgery, but then again, more pain coming through. Yeah, repetitive stress injury. These drivers put huge loads through their steering wheel. It is a power steering system, but regardless, they are, absolutely. I don't really know. They are putting a lot of force through these steering wheels, and they do have to be careful with these sort of things. And of course, surgery will make your wrist weaker, and that's probably something to do with it. All right. How do you think? Do you think McLaren will still be dominant heading forward to Canada? Well, I think the track conditions in Canada might be a bit cooler, which will help out their other teams. So I don't think they'll be as dominant, but I think they will still be the quickest team. All right. F1, give me your top 10. Top 10 finishing predictions, except especially Hamilton. Well, I can't predict the top 10 really. However, if you think asking about Hamilton, I think Hamilton will finish in the top 4. He's got a pretty good record around here. He's in the sort of turbo hybrid era when he was winning right at the start from 2014 all the way till 2020. Yeah, till 2020. He went really good around the Spanish Grand Prix. So he's still got some pace in him, and he got ahead of Leclerc last in the quali session. That was because Leclerc only had one fresh set of softs. Hamilton didn't. Hamilton had 2 fresh sets. Sorry, so Hamilton got to do 2 laps. Leclerc unfortunately only managed to do 1, and that's why Leclerc's didn't do a second lap, and that might be why Hamilton outqualified him. Maybe Leclerc would have still been behind. We just don't really know. Okay, folks, there is a 2 pit stop strategy this weekend, 2 pit stop strategy. The drivers most likely will start the race on a set of soft tyres, then they will go on to the medium tyres, then they will go on to the hard tyres, or it will be some sort of combination of the soft, medium and hard. All drivers apart from Charles Leclerc, Ollie Bearman and Esteban Ocon have just 1 set of hard tyres and 1 set of medium tyres. So they have to use soft, medium and hard realistically if they're going to complete the race in a reasonable pit stop strategy. Ferrari, Charles Leclerc could do soft, medium, if that suits him, if the tyre wear is low enough for the Ferrari. The same thing for Bearman and Ocon. Or maybe Charles Leclerc could do medium, hard, and compromise his race start a little bit, be slow off the line, but then as soon as everyone on the soft tyres, their tyres start wearing out, he will be there to attack, he'll be there to gain some places, and that might work out well for Charles Leclerc. We'll see what the Ferrari team do, and it'll be an interesting strategy choice for them if they start on the mediums and everyone else is on the soft tyres. Because these soft tyres really do wear out very, very quickly. I mean, we saw in the quali laps when the drivers were doing sort of quali simulations in, FP3, the drivers did their first lap, and then on their second lap, even with slightly lower fuel in the car, they were going 0.3 slower because the tyres had worn out that much just over the course of one singular lap. So the soft tyres aren't a durable tyre. However, the teams are going to have to use them because they've only got 1 fresh set of mediums and 1 fresh set of hards, and the tyre wear is way too high around here to do a 1-stop. This data is all from an app called Multiviewer, but you do have to pay for it. You have to pay for the actual data itself via F1 TV, so that's why. Yeah, okay. 20 minutes now till the start of the race. Folks, do let me know what your predictions are. Who do you think is going to be finishing up in the top 10? Will we have any surprise DNFs? The forecast for today, no rain whatsoever. No rain in the forecast. P5 for Lewis Hamilton equals the best, equals the best grid start that he's had with Ferrari so far. So not too shabby there for Lewis, but he's still got a lot of work to do really, because ideally he would be much further up the grid. The Ferrari car just hasn't got that much pace. Alonso top 5, yeah, I would love to see Alonso get up into the top 5. I mean, it's his home Grand Prix. I'm sure the fans will be all out here cheering for him, and yeah, the Spanish fans are out here in full force. They've all got their umbrellas out as well. It's very, very hot out there in Barcelona. Air temperature 30 degrees. Track temperature for the first time this weekend has just gone over 50 degrees, and yeah, does not bode well for these soft tyres. I can tell you that for certain. The soft tyres are not going to be having a great time. Okay. Stroll isn't racing. He's got a wrist injury. That's why he's not taking part. Gasly DNF, I'm calling it. Well, yeah, Colapinto didn't have the best of luck yesterday as well. He had a DNF engine issue as he was parked in the pit lane. He was sort of lined up at the end of the pit lane, getting ready to go, and then the car wouldn't start, it wouldn't move properly. So he just had to abandon the qualifying session, get out of the car, and that was the end of quali for him. So maybe Colapinto can make up some ground, because it seems like Pierre Gasly's got some pace in the Alpine. All right, they don't have a reserve driver. They do. However, the rules stipulate that for a reserve driver to take part in the race, they must have driven in at least one of the practice sessions or qualifying itself. So Felipe Drugovich did not take part in any of the practice sessions, and he also did not take part in any of the qualifying sessions. So unfortunately, he's not allowed to drive for Lance Stroll. All right. And another thing to consider, Felipe Drugovich, I think, is part of the World Endurance Championship team for Cadillac. And there is a colliding race weekend. The World Endurance Championship is happening at the same time as the Canadian Grand Prix, so there's a chance that maybe he doesn't even drive for that, and we have potentially Valtteri Bottas driving for Aston Martin. Of course, Aston Martin only have one reserve driver, that is Felipe Drugovich, but if he's not available, then maybe they can borrow Valtteri Bottas from Mercedes, because they've got a Mercedes powering it. That's typically how we see things work, but normally it works the other way around. Where Mercedes might borrow a junior driver from Williams or from Aston Martin if they don't have one of their own, but maybe things can work in reverse, and we'll see Valtteri Bottas driving alongside Fernando Alonso. That'd be great to see, really. I'd love to see Bottas back on the grid. Okay, what else have we got to talk about? Yeah, we got the Carlos Sainz, the smooth operator, in 17th position. A lot of work to do from him. And, the Williams is slippery in a straight line. They've had some pretty good top speed figures so far this weekend. And with a slipstream in tow, I'm sure he can make some solid progress through the bottom of the pack. Get it up into the top 10. All right. F1 Gamer, who's winning the championship this year? Piastri, Norris, Verstappen, or Bortoletto? Well, I don't think it's going to be Bortoletto. However, it's a pretty tough call as of right now. Piastri's got a sizable advantage over Verstappen, and so has Norris. So Verstappen seemingly looks like he's out of the fight, but you never count out Max Verstappen. That's probably, if there's anything that you've learned from watching Formula One all of these years, you do not count out Max Verstappen. And so, I don't know. It will probably be, it's going to be a fight between the three. I can't give you a definite answer, because if I could, then I would have definitely placed a bet by now. Does Barcelona have a lot of high-speed corners? Indeed it does. In fact, let me take you through an onboard lap of the circuit then. Let me get rid of this. All right, so you come out of the final corner, and it's pretty much all high-speed corners. The slowest corner around the circuit is turn number 10, which is reasonably high speed. The driver's taking about third or fourth gear at this in this season. So you make it through turn number 1, which is 4th gear here, then you're flat through 2, which is 5th gear, then you're going up through 6th and 7th gear through turn number 3. Your front left tyre, this is the big pain point for all of the drivers. The front left tyre, you go through turn number 3, your front left tyre is overheating. Go through turn number 4, again, all of the load gets shifted to the outside, your front left tyre is overheating. You even run out wide sometimes onto the grass because your front left tyre is losing grip. Then you go down the hill towards Worth Corner, where you've got a right-hander to sort of save your tyres a little bit, minimise the steering angle you put through it. Just try and straight line it, then steer right at the end just to keep it on the track. Again, through Campsie, your front left tyre feeling a lot of pain. Because you're going through that corner at in 6th gear, 250 Ks, and you're absolutely flat as well. This is probably the slowest corner on the circuit, 4th gear, all the way down to the bottom of the rev range. Then up you go, up the hill towards Bank Sabadell, and then turn number 13 and 14 are the final 2 corners. Again, they're right-handers, which means your front left tyre feels a lot of pain. And then turn number 14 here was flat in quali. In the race, not so much. There's a lot more fuel in the cars, and the drivers don't want to wear out their tyres immediately. So front left tyres is what you're going to see drivers complain about. Russell, in fact, after I think it was 7 or 8 laps on a set of soft tyres, was already complaining, saying my front left tyres are gone, they're terrible, and I don't know how I'm going to drive. So yeah, expect some drivers to start pitting lap number 5, lap number 6, 7, 8, because these softs really can't hold up, especially when track temperature is at 49.4 degrees Celsius. All right. Zach Brown will be at the 24 Hours at Le Mans, not the Canadian Grand Prix, because McLaren will be unveiling their hypercars at Le Mans. That'll be pretty cool, actually. Let me go to Spain and put bananas in front of these 2 McLaren cars. Yeah, who knows what will happen. They could... in fact, there's... I'm sure there have been attempts in the past to sort of reduce the grip levels on the starting grid, but the teams are sort of very wary of this. And what they do is the drivers, if you think you're going to be starting in pole position at the end of quali, what you do in free practice 1, 2, and 3 is that you will do your grid starts. Like the drivers have the opportunity to do a grid start to sort of get their clutch settings dialed in for the start of the race, and they'll do a grid start from pole position, and they'll just spin their wheels so much to deposit as much rubber onto the track as possible to give them more grip for race day, which is very interesting strategy. And it's these kind of fine margins, especially on lap number 1. We know lap number 1 can really make or break things. So Piastri and Norris, when they did do their grid starts, they will have lined up in the first position slot. They will have done a whole bunch of more wheel spin than they probably needed to, just to deposit and a little bit of extra rubber onto the circuit to ensure that on today's race start, they have a bit more grip than their competitors. Let's see, red line. Oh yeah, I'll just run through what the new sort of information is. So you've got the green line here. Oh, again, team radios coming through. Fantastic. Okay, team radios are working this weekend. So the first thing is these green line here. These are DRS zones. The green dots, these are DRS detection points. So if the drivers pass through this point with another driver 1 second ahead of them, then they will get DRS. Same thing for this point here. This purple dot is the speed trap. So the speeds that you're seeing at the bottom middle of the screen there, that is where the speed traps are measured as the drivers come down the straight. So if someone's getting a slipstream and a tow and they pop up into first position, that's why, and that's where the speed trap's being measured. And these red lines here, these are the sector markings. So sector 1 starts, of course, at this checkered flag. You make your way through all of these corners. This is the end of sector 1, start of sector 2. Then you make your way through here. This is the end of sector 2, start of sector 3. So these are just indicating where the sectors start and finish. Okay. Is everyone on the track? Everyone is on the track apart from Yuki Tsunoda. As you can see here, Yuki Tsunoda is starting from the pit lane. He had an experimental setup for quali. The experimental setup had no grip whatsoever, and they've modified the setup. He's going to be starting the race from dead last in the pit lane, and hopefully with a better setup. All right, the chance of rain is very, very low. The sun is shining super duper bright here in Barcelona. The skies are blue, not a cloud in sight. should be good. All right, folks. Also, if you haven't hit the like button, please be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. Very much would be appreciated. And also, if you haven't subscribed, that'd be fantastic. Hopefully, we can hit 170k subs today. That puts us on track to hit 200k subs by the midpoint of the season. So that would be incredible, you know, if we could hit 200k subs by the halfway point. That would put us 100k subs gain from Baku last year. Baku 2024 was when we hit 100k subs, and maybe we can hit 200k at a very similar time. The Aston Martin and Williams are two opposite cars. Williams is good in straight line pace and not so much in the corners. Aston Martin's is slow in the straights, but good in the corners. Yeah, I mean, it depends on the setup, and sometimes Williams sort of opt towards a sort of lower downforce setup, which makes them bad in the corners but good in the straights, and then Aston Martin opt to do the opposite. Okay, I will run through also how much time the drivers lose in the pit lane. So the drivers lose 22 seconds in the pit lane under green flag conditions. If there's a safety car or a virtual safety car, they'll only lose 12 seconds. So you gain 10 seconds of time via pitting under a safety car or VSC, which could be a very, very good strategy to do. 10 seconds is huge, really, especially in a two-stop race. The chance of a safety car is 40%, looking at previous Grand Prix. The chance of a VSC is 25%, and chance of a red flag is 0. There's a lot of runoff here. The barriers aren't so close, so red flag chances are much lower. And yeah, it's looking good for a very, very exciting race here. In the previous 3 years, we've had more than 50 overtakes at every single one of these Spanish Grand Prix. Ever since we got rid of the chicane at the final corner, or at the second to last corner, the overtakes have gone way, way up, and this layout of the circuit is much better. Just for the meme, thanks for the job every weekend. Biggest fan from India. Thank you very much, and I would appreciate if you didn't type the message about 100 times. I did see it. I just can't react to everyone's messages because otherwise I wouldn't do any commentary and I'd just be reading chat. All right, got 9,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in, and yeah, hope you're enjoying the coverage. Right, what else have we got going on then on the circuit? Not too much. Everyone's already lined up. The drivers are now going to get into their cars very shortly. We should have the tyre information coming through as well to see which tyres the teams are going to start on, which will be very exciting indeed. And just to sort of reiterate, Max Verstappen has said that going into turn number 1, he's going to try and make it a really nice picture for the photographers, essentially implying that it's going to be 3 wide into turn number 1. And he's not afraid to do that. He's already made that very clear, which will make Piastri and Norris wary. You know, they'll be watching in their mirrors. Where is Max Verstappen going to go? Is he going to go to the inside? Is he going to go to the outside? What's he going to do? And they might get so concerned about where Max Verstappen is, they'll forget about each other and drive into each other. And maybe we'll get another crash. Who knows? Pit stop duration, 22 seconds. That is it mandatory 2-stop? No, it is not. The teams could theoretically do a 1-stop. However, because the tyre wear is so high, they risk getting a puncture, especially on the front left tyre or the rear left tyre. The chance of a puncture is way, way too high. And that's why we're probably going to see a 2-stop race from the majority of the teams and the drivers. I thought it was Madrid next year. It's not. I thought it was Madrid this year. It's not. This year, Madrid, I think we're racing there next year. Are you going to watch Silverstone race in person? No, I'm probably not, actually. I'll just be commentating it from home, really. Will be interesting to see Leclerc's and Hamilton pit stop strategies today. Hope for the Ferrari team. Yeah, Ferrari should probably do a good strategy. Leclerc is the only driver in the top 10 that has 2 fresh sets of medium tyres. No other driver has 2 sets of mediums. Everyone else has 1 set. So that should theoretically help out Charles Leclerc, give him a little bit more flexibility in his options and his choices for the race. And maybe he can gain some places. But after all, it is Ferrari doing a strategy. It's not, you know, one of the other teams. Okay. Yeah, so Noda's going to be starting from the pit lane because he's got a new setup. So Stroll isn't taking part because he has got an injured wrist. Folks, if you have any other questions, be sure to let me know in the chat. We will get the radio messages coming through. As you can just see here, we've got one from Ollie Behrman. Radio check, and we're getting radio checks from Albon as well. Fantastic. Also, folks, the name of the Austrian website is ORF. Anyone that wants to watch Formula One for only $2 a month, what you can do is get Surfshark VPN. That's the thing that costs $2 a month. Then you join the Austrian VPN server using Surfshark. You go onto Google, you search ORF, and you make an account and you log in. It's free. ORF is free to watch as long as you have an Austrian VPN. So go ahead and check that out. We've got around 300 people already using this method to watch the Formula One right now. The commentary is in German, so if you don't understand German, you can mute the commentary and you can listen to my commentary instead, but you still actually get to watch the cars move around on the circuit and everything like that. So if you're interested, go ahead and check that out. There's a link in the description to Surfshark VPN, and it does help out the channel as well. Okay. And yeah, we're getting a load of radio checks coming through. So I will get rid of the championship standings for now. I will put them up later in the race when it's a little bit more relevant. But for now, I think it's best to have all of the team radios coming through. Okay. What else have we got to talk about then? Yeah, well, I'll just talk about the final couple of things, what to watch for today's race. Of course, it'll be Max Verstappen versus the McLarens, and you know, going into turn number one, we'll see what happens there, and then apart from that, we'll see how Carlos Sainz can do, how Fernando Alonso can do. It's their home race. Hopefully, they can gain some places. Sainz hopefully into the points. Alonso ideally into the top 5. That would be brilliant, but who knows? He's had a string of bad luck, and hopefully that stops because he hasn't scored any points this season. In fact, if he does not score points this Grand Prix, this will equal his worst start to the season all the way back to his junior season, his rookie season back in 2001 with Minardi. And with Minardi, he had loads of DNFs, which resulted in why he had, you know, a really bad start to the season and didn't score any points. But I think 9 races in and no points scored, that the only season that has been this bad for Fernando Alonso was Minardi in 2001. Even the McLaren Honda days were better than this. So fingers crossed Alonso can score some points. First overtake T2 or turn 10. Oh, we're definitely getting overtakes into turn number 1 and turn number 2. Yeah, there is. I'll just take you through a lap, in fact, while we're waiting, and I'll sort of reiterate where we see overtakes, where we think overtakes are going to happen. So the drivers, they'll come down the start-finish straight as standard, and then they will. This is this is the starting grid here. As you can see, that those lights are a little bit up the road. This is the starting grid. So Oscar Piastri will be starting on the left-hand side of the grid, on the clean side of the grid, and he'll be getting his run down in towards turn number 1. Lando Norris will be on the dirty side. Verstappen will be on the clean side. He's going to be very happy about that. Now, in towards turn number 1, this is 3 wide, maybe even 4 wide. So there is definitely potential to make an overtake into here. If I rewind just a little bit, let's rewind slightly further. Okay, so if you look at the pit lane exit here on the right hand side, there's a bunch of runoff area where the drivers from the pits come onto the circuit, and you can also drive on this part of the circuit if you want to go past the one on the inside line, because normally, you know, getting an overtake done on the inside is the best way to do it. There is the opportunity to drive on the pit lane exit and then get the overtake done into turn number 1. So maybe that's something we'll see from George Russell. He'll be starting on the right hand side of the grid. He'll try and get ahead of Lando Norris. Tyre information: everyone starting the race on the soft tyres apart from Yuki Tsunoda. Interesting. Verstappen will be starting on his used set of soft tyres. Piastri and Norris on a fresh set. Okay. So, of course, these are the overtaking opportunities that you can get in towards turn number 1. Then let's just run slightly forward. Of course, turn number 4 here, loads of overtaking opportunities if you crash into your driver. Crash into your teammate. So the only 2 teammates that are starting next to each other, Piastri and Norris. Very similar scenarios to Hamilton and Rosberg back in 2016, and maybe they take each other out. And that's you can also go around the outside at turn number 4. Like, it's a pretty long corner. We've seen overtakes get done around the outside here. It is a little bit risky because you just run the risk of going out onto the grass or getting pushed out into the grass, and the drivers will be wary of that and have to back out of it if, you know, someone's pushing them out onto the grass. And then, of course, you've got the final couple of overtaking opportunities as you go towards turn number 10. You've got a DRS zone down here, so definitely some overtakes on lap number 1 for this corner as well. But we're a minute and 33 seconds away from the start of the race here, folks. And I'm going to just run through all of the drivers and talk about what we should expect from all of them. Coaches don't play Lance Stroll. Yeah, I mean, Lance Stroll clearly the GOAT. That's what's going on there. All right, a minute and 10 seconds left. So let's run through from the bottom to the top. We got Tsunoda with an experimental setup from yesterday's quali, resulting in absolutely no grip. They've modified the setup to give him a little bit more grip, hopefully, and he's going to be starting from the pit lane on a set of medium tyres. The entire rest of the grid is on a set of softs. Colapinto, of course, he had his issue in quali, didn't manage to go out for a second run in Q1, which meant that he just got eliminated, and he's going to be starting from 18th. Sainz had a really bad quali, lost some time in the high-speed corner. It was very, very close. The gap between, I think it was 5th position and 16th position or something was around about 0.5 of a second, and he lost 1/10 in the high-speed corners, which resulted in him getting eliminated. Then we have Esteban Ocon, Ollie Behrman. The Hasses haven't been doing so great. Same thing for the Saubers as well. They're in 12th and 15th. The Hasses are in 14th and 16th. They just don't seem to really have the pace, and most of them, especially the Saubers, have just decided to sort of abandon any sort of upgrades for this year and just go totally focus on next year's car. Liam Lawson, not the best quality from him, but he's going to be starting from 13th place. We'll see what progress he can make. Then we've got Alex Albon in 11th with the Williams team. They, in fact, for the past 10 years have never made it into the top 10 in quali, and that streak continued this year because, well, he qualified in 11th position. So Williams haven't been the best around this circuit in recent history. Maybe they'll improve, maybe they won't. But that is it. The timer is down to 0. The drivers are getting underway for the formation lap. This is going to be mega. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. We've got 20,000 people already tuning into live stream. Very much do appreciate it, folks. And I hope I can give you guys some fantastic commentary for the rest of the race. I will be commentating the Canadian Grand Prix as well. So if you guys are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the subscribe button. Hopefully we can hit 170k subs today. We're also going to, I think, try to do the world record for the most number of subscribers gained in a single second. We'll try that one again, depending on how many people we get watching the stream. But yeah, okay. The pit stop strategy, recommended pit stop strategy, start on the softs, go on to the mediums, go on to the softs again at the end of the race. That might be a little bit too high tyre wear considering track temperature is up at 50 degrees Celsius. I mean, look at this, folks. 50 degrees. It is extremely, extremely high. And yeah, they're going to be very wary of that, and we'll probably see some drivers on the soft tires pitting immediately, like not immediately, but probably like lap number 4, lap number 5, that kind of thing. Okay. So here we go then. Let me know who you think is going to be winning this race. It's going to be super duper exciting. 50 plus overtakes that we've had in the previous 3 years around Spain. So we should be getting a lot more overtakes than we did in Monaco. The pit deficit, the drivers lose 22 seconds in the pit lane, 22 seconds under green flag conditions, 12 seconds under safety car or virtual safety car conditions. Tsunoda's coming out as well to do the formation lap. He's getting all of his tyres up into temperature. He will drive back into the pit lane as is expected. Everyone's starting the race on the soft tyres because they don't have 2 fresh sets of mediums or 2 fresh sets of hards. And of course, the run into turn number 1 is as critical as ever. We've seen it in the past. You can slipstream past your opponents into turn 1 and then just maintain the lead from there. And Verstappen will be trying to do exactly that. Alright, here we go then. I will turn on slow mode in just a second. We've got 25,000 people tuning into live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage, and I will be commentating for the future races as well. Alright, yeah, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe. Really does help out the channel, especially the YouTube algorithm. And here we are. We are getting all of the drivers lining up on the grid here. Oscar Piastri lines up on the left-hand side. Lando Norris on the right-hand side. He's got the dirty side of the grid. Anyone starting on an even grid position, so Norris, Verstappen, Antonelli, they're all on the dirty side of the grid. Anyone with an odd number is on the clean side of the grid, so they should theoretically get a slightly better race start. So let's wait and see. All right, what is going to happen here? We've got the final cars just approaching the grid now. The medical car is already lined up as well. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. We have got Colapinto approaches the grid. That is it. The green flag is waving from the marshal at the back of the circuit. It is 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5 lights. It is lights out and away we go. Great start there for George Russell, and Verstappen's already passed and ahead of Lando Norris. Slipstream, and Piastri gives the slipstream to Norris. It looks like this was premeditated. It's 3 wide into turn number 1. Russell on the inside, Verstappen round the outside he goes of Lando Norris, and Piastri's already got a huge lead, and someone's had to go off into the escape road. Looks like that was Fernando Alonso, or maybe it was Antonelli. Yeah, it was Antonelli. He drops back a couple of places. All right, and we've got Piastri in the lead of this race, Verstappen in second place, Norris in third, Hamilton up into fourth position. Great start there for Lewis Hamilton. Russell, in fact, loses a position to his former teammate, sends one down the inside, does Charles Leclerc of Kimi Antonelli. Thank you very much, says Leclerc, and up he goes into ahead of, oh, sorry, not Kimi Antonelli, he gets ahead of George Russell. The Ferraris in 4-5, the Mercedes down in 6 and 7. Terrible race start for the Mercedes team, and great race start for the Ferraris. All right, now Max Verstappen's job now is to stay within DRS range of Oscar Piastri. Currently the gap 9.37 seconds. It is very, very marginal, and we'll wait and see what he can do. Isaac Hadjar just gets ahead of Fernando Alonso as they go round through turn number 10. Who can stick it out ahead? Alonso on the inside line as they go through turn 12. And Hadjar just has the grip to stick it around the outside. Great racing by Isaac Hadjar, and he gets ahead of Fernando Alonso. Fantastic. Okay, and here we are. Across the line we go. Fastest middle sector for Oscar Piastri. Verstappen, though, great final sector. He's within 1 second, going on to lap number 2. Now let's see what happens on lap number 3. We've already got Hulkenberg down the inside of Alonso losing more places. Hulkenberg, what a race start for him. He started down in 15th position, up 5 places. Fantastic. Norris has already lost DRS to Max Verstappen, and Hamilton is all over the back of him. Hamilton remembered yesterday that he was GOATed, and he's fantastic around the Spanish Grand Prix circuit, and here he is on the back of Lando Norris, potentially fighting for the podium. All right, there's purple in the first sector for Max Verstappen. He's just got to hold it together for 2 more sectors. If he comes out of turn number 14, turn number 13, within 1 second of within 1 second of Piastri, he's got DRS. In fact, he already does have DRS. Here we go, ladies and gents. We've got a fight for P1 between Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri. The fight we've been waiting for. It's going to get very, very spicy indeed. Max Verstappen, and then we have Lando Norris versus Hamilton. Maybe if Hamilton can have a good final sector. Yuki Tsunoda is in last position, unfortunately. No ground up made up for him, but he is on the medium tyres. These soft tyres are going to wear out super fast, so let's just wait and see what happens. Here comes Max Verstappen, though. He's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, he's got the fastest lap of the race. He looks to the inside, but he's just a little bit too far back to make a move here. He's biding his time, he's applying some pressure, but every single corner he sits behind Oscar Piastri. That's one more corner sat in dirty air, one more corner with overheating tyres. He's got to be very careful and get this move done quickly. Otherwise, these tyres are going to fall off a cliff before they've got even to the pit stop window. All right, let's see, folks. Let me know in the chat who you think is going to be leading out of turn number 1, or leading out of Verstappen and Piastri. That gap goes up to 1 second. This is what I'm saying. The drivers lose so much time going through the first sector, following someone, because the dirty air effect is huge at this point, and the gap 1.2 seconds. Verstappen's tyres have already gone off. Track temperature up at 49 degrees. Verstappen on his tyres did a quali lap. He did a quali lap yesterday, and they weren't a fresh set. Piastri is using a fresh set of tyres. This is really going to help him out. They come over the radio, Russell comes over the radio saying they're moving under braking, and the engineer just comes back to him saying, George, concentrate. So yeah, not having any of this complaining, and Russell has to get ahead of Charles Leclerc ASAP. All right, here they are coming out of the final corner. The gaps for everyone in the top 8 are all larger than 1 second. Piastri's broken the gap to Max Verstappen, and now it looks like it's going to turn towards a strategy battle. It's not going to be a head-to-head 1 versus 1 on the circuit. It seems like it's going to turn towards strategy, and who's going to get an overtake done? All right, we get Gasly just getting ahead of Isaac Hadjar. Nicely done there for Pierre Gasly, and he stays ahead of Isaac Hadjar, as they go towards turn number 1. Nice defense. Okay, and yeah, that gap up at the front is extending. This is exactly what this is exactly what Oscar Piastri wants, and the fastest lap of the race from Piastri as well, a 1:19.866. Considering he's got a full fuel load, that is incredible. Yuki Tsunoda right at the back of the pack, lapping in the 1:23s. He's just stuck behind Colapinto, really unable to make a way by. All right, we've got 35,000 people watching the stream, only 2,000 likes. Folks, if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button. It hugely helps out the channel, and it would very, very much be appreciated. Hopefully, we can make our way towards, towards 170k subs. We are, 3,000 subscribers away, but with 35,000 people watching, it's definitely possible. All right, so that is... yeah, Oscar Piastri slower in all three sectors, in fact, on this occasion. Same thing for Max Verstappen. They really have taken the life out of these tyres. And as we saw yesterday, these tyres wear out after 2, 3, 4 laps of hard pushing. And here we are, lap number 5 of the race. Pit stops are imminent. There are only 19 drivers because Stroll is not taking part in this race. Stroll has a wrist injury, and because he took part in the qualifying session, the reserve driver isn't allowed to take part in the race. Yeah. All right. What else have we going on then? Carlos Sainz, I've got understeer on right. I've understeer right, which I think he means right-hand corners. And this is what we're saying. The front left tyre gets worn out so much on this circuit because we're going clockwise and all of the high-speed corners are right-hand corners. The front lefts wear out a lot and drivers are suffering from understeer already. Okay. Leclerc's got DRS here on Lewis Hamilton. What are Ferrari going to do? Are they going to swap around the Ferrari drivers? Leclerc goes quickest through the speed traps down the back straight. So the quickest out of anyone to get a slipstream and DRS down the back straight, 284 kilometers per hour. It's a lot slower than everything down the main straight, but regardless, he's closing up to the back of Hamilton. Here they go through turn number 13 and 14. Who's got a... Leclerc's got a slipstream, he's got a tow, he's got the DRS open, and what's going to happen between the two Ferrari drivers? Let's wait and see. Hülkenberg up 5 places. Yeah, no, Hülkenberg had a great race start, and now he's chasing down Isaac Hadjar. Charles Leclerc is getting mightily close to the back of his teammate. Okay, so look at this. They're going through turn number 1. 4 tenths is the gap. Now, can Leclerc hold on to the back of Lewis Hamilton through turn number 3 and 4? Yes, he can. Leclerc has got some serious pace because we saw Verstappen. He lost 5 tenths of a second going through the first sector behind Oscar Piastri because of just the dirty air effect. Charles Leclerc not having any of those issues. Purple in the first sector with the help of a slipstream, and he's chasing down his teammate. Are they going to swap positions? Are Ferrari going to come over the radio? Let's keep our eyes peeled on the radio messages. Right. Piastri, though, look at that gap. 3 seconds. He's getting out of undercut range, really, at this point. It looks like... Is this the Williams front wing is slightly damaged or something? I'm not sure. I think Sainz might have a slightly damaged front wing. Or maybe it's Albon. I can't... They didn't show which one it was, but which one of the drivers... All right, Leclerc now very close. On the previous lap, he was within 8 tenths of a second, and he got that down to 4 tenths. Now he's within 5 tenths. This is within striking distance for Charles Leclerc. Yeah, they come over the radio, box to Alex Albon. So it seems like Albon was the driver that had damage on his front wing, and he's coming into the pits. Here comes Charles Leclerc versus Lewis Hamilton, the two Ferrari drivers in towards turn number 1. Hamilton goes slightly defensive. Charles Leclerc doesn't send a move there to the inside, and... it's getting very close. Clearly, both drivers pressing the overtake button. Nobody getting a huge top speed advantage as they go down the start-finish straight. Alex Albon, the first driver into the pits. He's done 7 laps on those soft tyres. Well, 9 laps overall, but 7 laps in this race today. They change his soft tyres, and they're also changing the front wing by the looks of it. They put him onto a second set of softs. They put a second set of soft tyres. Interesting strategy from the Williams crew. I think maybe they are going to try and do a soft medium. That's a very bold one. But an 11.4 second stop for Alex Albon there with a fresh set of softs and a new front wing that isn't broken. Lando's gaining on Max. Let's have a look. Yeah, 1.2 seconds is the gap, and maybe Max is losing pace. Really, previous lap time, Norris was a tenth quicker. So, but Verstappen was 6 tenths slower than Piastri on the previous lap. Like that just shows you how big that margin is, and we'll see what happens between Max and Norris. But we've seen what happens before in the past. Max will make it very difficult to pass, and he knows exactly where to place his car to do that. All right, here comes Charles Leclerc. Round number 3 between the Ferrari drivers. He's gaining, and he's gaining even more. Purple first sector here for Fernando Alonso. He's trying to try and re-overtake Nico Hülkenberg as they come down the start-finish straight. Hülkenberg, however, has got DRS on Hadjar, which is going to help him out to defend against Alonso in towards turn number 1, and the Ferrari drivers still stay in the same position. And Hamilton saying, I'm going to save tyres. Update when the tyre wear is possible. Okay, so we'll see. Hamilton saving tyres. Leclerc's catching up. Are they going to swap around? What's going on here? In towards turn number 5 now. Leclerc's practically pushing him through these next set of corners. Okay. Yeah, not ideal. This is compromising Leclerc's race, really. He's on slightly fresher tyres than Lewis Hamilton. And yeah, he's stuck behind him, really, and the gap to Lando Norris is building and building. Norris is slightly gaining, but every single lap he's gaining about a tenth or so on on Max Verstappen. So within a lap or two, he will be within DRS range. Hamilton is surprisingly goes very quick down the speed trap at towards turn number 10. And so Hamilton said he's saving his tires, but he's also pressing K1 to overtake. Like, he's using the overtake button to defend against his teammate Charles Leclerc, because there's no way he would have gone 282 Ks down the back straight without a slipstream, unless he had pressed the overtake button. So, but here they go in towards turn number 1. Is Leclerc going to get ahead on this occasion? They're finally side by side, and still no. Leclerc goes to the inside line, and Hamilton just swoops around the outside again, compromising Leclerc's strategy. I mean, I guess they're just going to let them battle it out. But the pit stop window is open now, folks. Lap number 10 to lap number 19 is the pit stop window for the soft tyres, and everyone is struggling with tyre wear. You can see their current lap times are so much slower than their personal best, around a second and a half slower, and a lot of improvement left to go. Okay, Yuki Tsunoda into the pits. Why is Tsunoda coming into the pits? Tsunoda was started the race on a set of medium tyres. He's done 8 laps on the mediums. He's now onto the soft tyres. Behrman comes into the pits. He started the race on the softs. He's now onto the medium tyres. Interesting choice there from Red Bull. It doesn't make sense only to do 8 laps on the medium tyres. He's got a lot longer. He's got 66 laps of this race to do. 8 laps on the mediums probably wasn't the best idea, but he is going to have a little bit of clean air. If he can get ahead of Albon, he'll have a bit of clean air, which should help him out. Ferrari are talking of swapping cars. Okay, they're swapping cars on the main straight. You see that on the right side of the column, team radio columns. Swap the cars on the main straight, Charles. Swap the cars on the main straight. Okay, well, are they going to do that then? Hamilton, is he going to swap, or are they not? Going towards turn number 1. Who comes out ahead? It looks like it is Charles Leclerc, I think. Yeah, Leclerc does come out ahead. Okay, it was a very, very left very late. Hamilton did lose a bit of time, but Leclerc gets ahead, and they swap the cars without losing too much time. The Mercedes have caught up. George Russell is right on the back now, 1.3 seconds. I swear the gap was closer before they swapped the two cars around. Purple in the middle sector for Oliver Behrman. Clearly, clean air can really help you out here. Nico Hülkenberg comes into the pits. He's also now got a bit of clean air ahead of him, up all the way towards Colapinto. 11 seconds of clean air. That is fantastic. Carlos Sainz, is that a slow pit stop for Sainz? Oh, no. This is his home Grand Prix. Are they changing the front wing, or I don't know what's happened here, but it's a 10.8 second pit stop, and I don't know if that was a front wing issue there front wing change. Okay, front wing change. So it seems like both Williams cars had damage to their front wing. I don't know how that happened, if it was a manufacturing defect or something, but both Williams, seemingly without any contact to their front wing, had to get a front wing change. Strange. Oh, here we go. Lando Norris has got DRS on Max Verstappen. On the previous lap, he gained 0.3 of a second. That puts him within DRS range. He's gaining down the start-finish straight. He's a little bit too far back on this lap, but he's getting into Max Verstappen's mirrors. Not that it's going to phase Max, really. Max knows that he sort of has the upper hand on Lando Norris. Against Piastri, I think it's a fair fight, but the number of battles we've seen between Verstappen and Norris, and Verstappen pretty much comes out ahead on most occasions. I think Verstappen in the back of his mind knows that when it comes to Norris, he can be a bit aggressive and still sort of get away with it. All right, Sainz though has got some clean air. I mean, a horribly slow pit stop, of course, having to change his front wing. I guess we'll get a statement from Williams later on why they had to change front wings. But then the Verstappen and Norris head towards turn number 10. He's again got DRS. He's again gaining. And who have we got here? Hülkenberg right onto the back of Pierre Gasly going through turn number 4. Will Hülkenberg be able to get a move done in the middle sector? Probably not. He's going to have to wait for the start, finish straight. But here comes Lando Norris now out of the final corner, turn number 13 and 14. Verstappen comes over the radio. No grip compared to them, that is. So Verstappen basically just saying the car's not quick enough compared to the McLarens, and the only consolation his engineer can give him is, okay, understood. Here comes Norris. He's gaining. Verstappen has to go defensive, and he holds on for this occasion. All right, good defense there from Max. Lap number 12 of 66. He's already going defensive against Lando Norris, and this is again playing out in Oscar Piastri's favour. We've seen this happen before. Piastri gets ahead of Max, and then Norris is stuck behind Max, and Piastri just runs away into the sunset. I don't exactly remember which race it happened in, but I do remember this has happened a couple of times before. Okay. Here we go then. Also, folks, we've got 40,000 people watching the stream. I'm doing my best to block adverts, so hopefully you guys don't get any more adverts from, from YouTube or anything like that. And if you guys could hit the like button, if you could hit subscribe as well, that really does help out the channel. Very much would be appreciated. All right. Oscar says he's struggling a little bit with the rear tyres. Norris is trying to take loads of different lines now, trying to get around Max Verstappen, taking different lines, getting away from the dirty air as well to hopefully reduce the sort of tyre wear and the overheating that he's experiencing. All right, here they go then. Round number 2, Max Verstappen versus Lando Norris. He's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream. Verstappen's going to be using as much overtake as he can. Norris looks to the inside. Verstappen does not defend the inside line, and it's a simple, straightforward overtake there for Norris. And there we go. All right, is there a pit window opening up for Max Verstappen for him to attempt an overcut? So as you know, the drivers lose 22 seconds in the pit stops. So if he comes into the pits now, which is 5 seconds back from the lead, he's going to come out just ahead of Bortoleto, behind Fernando Alonso. That gap probably isn't big enough for an undercut. Maybe they could make it work. Verstappen's going to try and hold it now off the back of Norris and see if he can stay within that 1 second gap. It'll be tight, but this is his best shot really. Either he tries to re-overtake Lando Norris as they come through the start-finish straight on the next lap, or he tries to undercut him. Bortoleto is on the back of Lawson here. He's getting close. And then we got the 2 Williams down in 18th and 19th position. They've had such a great season so far. It comes to the home race of Carlos Sainz, and they've had such bad luck at the Spanish Grand Prix in the previous years. And again, the same thing happens, and he's back down. Back down right at the back of the pack. Alonso loses 2 places seemingly out of nowhere. I don't know what happened there. We've got a replay here. Fernando Alonso, locks up the inside tyre. The front left he locks up. The front left we know is the one that all of the drivers struggle with. Alonso locks up. Another mistake uncharacteristic of Alonso, and he loses 2 places as he goes off onto the gravel at turn number 5. All right, Verstappen comes into the pits. Okay, great. So as you see, Alonso dropped back a little bit. That gives Verstappen hopefully some clean air. Yeah, Hadjar gets out of the way. He should come out ahead of Lawson. So Verstappen's now got clean air. He's going to try and undercut Lando Norris. What tyres does Max come out on? Is it a fresh set of soft tyres? It's a fresh set of soft tyres here for Max Verstappen. So he's definitely going on the undercut mode. Lando Norris's previous lap, a 1:20.53. Let's keep an eye out now on these middle sectors and the middle and final sectors. Here we go. Okay. Well, Norris, I'm sure, will have been instructed over the radio to start pushing, and we'll see what his middle sector time is as he comes through turn number 10. Verstappen has got a bunch of clean air ahead of him, and he's going to try and close that gap up and try and undercut him. Maybe McLarens won't even fight the undercut. Maybe they'll go for the overcut strategy, wait a long, long time before they come into the pits. But it's going to be risky on those soft tyres. If Alonso's making mistakes, then there's chances of other drivers making mistakes as well, especially with the front lefts. Okay, Lando Norris does not dive into the pit lane. His middle sector time of 32.4. His final sector of 24.2. Verstappen goes 0.6 quicker in the middle sector. 0.6. Okay, so pretty big margin there. And he will undercut Norris by the looks of it if Norris comes into the pits, but Norris, by the looks of it, isn't coming into the pits. The McLarens have superb tyre wear, especially when track conditions are super hot, exactly like they are today. 49 degrees is track temperature today here in Barcelona, and yeah, purple final sector for Max Verstappen. He will clearly undercut Lando Norris, but that's not the problem right now because Norris just isn't going to come into the pits. Yeah, it's not really ideal for Alonso. I mean, these mistakes are just creeping in again and again. He had that mistake in Australia where he spun it on the painted white line. He had the mistake in Japan during the free practice sessions, just binned it off into the gravel trap. We've had another mistake this weekend. It's been mistakes and bad luck for Fernando Alonso. Yeah. I don't know. Maybe it's time that his career comes to an end. I wouldn't like to see that in a similar way that that I didn't like to see Seb Vettel's career come to an end. But these mistakes start creeping in, and I think it just comes with age, really. Who knows? I can't really explain it because it's very uncharacteristic of Alonso to make mistakes. 5 years ago, if Alonso was doing that, it would be the strangest thing in the world. But they're all just becoming slightly more frequent this season. Why is everyone using the softs? Because nobody has, apart from Charles Leclerc, Esteban Ocon, and Oliver Behrman, nobody has 2 fresh sets of medium tyres. So the teams do have to use 2 sets of softs. The hard tyres might not be optimal for the race because they just lose so much lap time. They are like a second and a half slower compared to the soft tyres every single lap. Verstappen sets the fastest lap of the race. In fact, he's going to potentially threaten to undercut Oscar Piastri, but I don't think the McLarens care about that. The McLarens are on their own strategy, and some good lap times here from Max. He's got to catch up to Antonelli now. Yeah, if Alonso retires and Aston Martin turns into a rocket ship next year, I mean, that's going to be classic Alonso luck. But he comes into the pits now, does Fernando Alonso, and we'll see what tyres he comes out on. Oh, we've got the 2 drivers weaving as they come down the start-finish straight. Who is that? That looks like Sainz and Colapinto weaving as they come down the start-finish straight, trying to break each other's DRS and tow. But, yeah, no avail, and Fernando Alonso comes out in dead last. All right, fastest lap of the race there from Max, and he's going to try and close up to Antonelli. He's got 16 lap fresher soft tyres, which will definitely help. And as you can see, here, Lewis Hamilton box, pit confirm and box. So it looks like Hamilton's coming into the pits now to try and prevent an undercut from the Mercedes crew. And there we go, Hamilton dives into the pit lane. Fantastic. Okay. But the pit stop window was between lap number 10 and 19. So we're reaching the end of the pit stop window and still drivers are continuing on. And, this is purely because the drivers are just so good at time management. And, they're focusing on time management a little bit more than they are driving quickly. Clearly, as we can see from Max Verstappen's previous best time. Another fastest lap of the race there, I think, for Max as well. A 19.4 in his previous lap. Okay, 42,000 people tuning into live stream. Thanks everyone for tuning in. They come over the radio to Charles Leclerc. Full push now. So, he's clearly not pushing that hard. Well, he's got used soft tyres. That's why he can't gain that much lap time. But yeah, he's yellow in the first sector and he's still going a tenth slower than the McLarens. All right, Verstappen now onto the back of Antonelli. He's on significantly fresher tyres. This should be a straightforward overtake for Max. Is he going to super late on the brakes into 10? No, he's not. He's going to play it safe. And Antonelli, in fact, I think he exceeded track limits at that point. It was very, very close. But Verstappen swoops around the outside of 12. What a move from Max Verstappen. He's not going to have DRS, though. He's not going to have DRS as they come down the main straight. And Antonelli might actually re-overtake him. All right, and Leclerc into the pits, box for him. So the 2 Ferrari drivers pitting back to back, and Antonelli, he's got the slipstream and he's got the DRS as well. Is he going to try and re-overtake Max Verstappen? I think he knows it's a lost cause because Max is just on significantly fresher tyres, so he just stays behind and doesn't bother with a move. Okay. Yeah, now next up on Verstappen's overtaking list is George Russell. Let's see what happens there. Fernando Alonso, a 5... Oh, no, nothing happened there. Not a 5-second time penalty. It was turn number 5. I just saw 5 and I was like, oh, no. But no, he rejoined the circuit unsafely, apparently, according to one of the drivers, but no further investigation there for Alonso, and he gets away without a penalty. Bortoletto is doing fantastically. Hülkenberg as well. He had a great race start. 5 positions gained on the race start. And now he's going to try and catch up to the back of Pierre Gasly, who's stuck behind Esteban Ocon. Verstappen is closing up at a rate of knots here to George Russell. On the previous lap, 1.3 seconds faster compared to George Russell. So it's a matter of time now. The gap currently 1.5. So I guess by next lap, he's caught right up. Fernando Alonso purple in the first sector. Brilliant from him. I think he got a toe. Yes, he did. He got a toe off Carlos Sainz. But regardless, great first sector from Alonso. He's going to try and get ahead of his fellow Spaniard. But unfortunate to see both Spaniards here, 17th and 18th position at the Spanish Grand Prix. Not ideal. Okay. Yeah, Leclerc and Hamilton, they come out on medium tires. So a couple of drivers have come out on soft. So 2 softs to start out to do their first 2 stints. Some drivers are coming out on the mediums, and maybe they'll use softs on their final stint. It all changes things. With a safety car, Verstappen will not be able to go onto another set of soft tires if a safety car comes out in let's say 5 laps time, 10 laps time. But Charles Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, they will be able to go on a set of soft tires. So it's sort of an interesting strategy choice there. I guess they're sort of guessing when the safety car is going to happen. But Verstappen gets ahead of George Russell, not even at a normal overtaking zone. I think just on the exit of turn number 5, gets superior traction. Russell, is he going to try and re-overtake him into turn number 10? I mean, it would be stupid to do so. There's no chance that he's actually going to stay ahead, and yeah, he stays off the back of it. And Verstappen up into P3 after his first pit stop. So if we have a look, what is the time lost in the pit stop? 22 seconds. Oscar Piastri, if he comes into the pits now, it's going to come out just behind Max Verstappen. So it's a fantastic first stint for Max. And the one disadvantage that he will have, though, if Piastri comes into the pits, he will come up behind him, but Piastri's going to be in a faster car and on fresher tyres, which is something that even Max Verstappen can't defend against. Oh, look at this. Fernando Alonso, they come over the radio to him. How was the front left? Completely finished. And Alonso is on 4-lap-old medium tyres. 4-lap-old medium tyres, and he's complaining about the front left tyre. This is what I'm saying. This circuit eats up front left tyres for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Like, it's crazy. They wear out so fast. What are the McLarens doing? I mean, they're waiting for the overcut, really. That's what they're waiting for, because they know that, let's say now, if they pit in 4 laps time, Verstappen will have 10-lap-old soft tyres, Piastri will have 10-lap fresher soft tyres compared to Max Verstappen. The overtake is going to be so easy, it's not even going to matter. So that's what they're waiting for. They're doing the overcut strategy, where you wait for, you might come out behind your rival, but you're going to come out on so much more fresh tyres that it doesn't matter anyway, because you'll be able to get past them. All right, Hadjar just gets ahead of Oliver Behrman. Great overtaking there from Isaac Hadjar. I think, in fact, he has just been promoted in my books from... It was previously Antonelli in first position for Rookie of the Year so far, and Hadjar in second. But I think I'm going to swap them 2 around. I think Hadjar definitely deserves to be Rookie of the Year so far. Yeah. So pit stop window is closing for the soft tyres. I mean, it was meant to be 19 laps. The McLaren crew are ready. George Russell, in fact, comes into the pit lane here. So Russell into the pits. What tyres is it going to be for him? It's medium tyres for George Russell. Okay. Quick pit stop, as always, 2.2 seconds for George. And he'll be coming out onto the circuit, I think, behind Lewis Hamilton. Yeah, behind Lewis Hamilton, of course. They didn't gain too much lap time there. And in fact, at the start of the race, the 2 Ferraris got ahead of both Mercs. So the position stayed the same way after the pit stops. How many pit stops there? There are going to be 2 pit stops here. 2 pit stops, most likely. There's no way these drivers make it to the end, especially Max Verstappen's not making it to the end on a set of soft tyres. He has to pit again. Oh, they come over to Lando. Okay, Lando, we will box this lap for medium. I'll come down. Okay, so McLaren are going for medium tyres. Yeah, we can see medium tyres they're bringing out to the grid. So... they will have fresher tyres compared to Max Verstappen. However, they will be slower tyres as well, because the mediums are inherently 5 or 6 tenths slower than the softs. And interesting. But the thing that basically means that in the final stint, the McLarens will have the softs by the looks of it, which will, obviously going to be a lot quicker than the medium tyres. And Verstappen will be stuck on the mediums in the final stint. So maybe McLaren will sit behind in the middle stint of the race. Verstappen will be in the net lead. And then once we get to the final stint, McLaren will come blasting past on a set of softs. We'll see what Piastri does. Maybe Piastri's doing a different strategy, but they say, I guess we'll see. We want a gentle introduction. That's what they're saying to to Lando Norris. We're not trying to undercut. That's what they're saying to Norris. So gentle introduction to his tyres. George Russell, however, is not doing a gentle introduction. He's gone purple in the middle sector, purple in the final sector immediately as he comes out of the pits. And he's trying to chase down his former teammate Lewis Hamilton. All right, 45,000 people tuned into the live stream. Thanks you everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And I'll be commentating for the Spanish Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. I hope to see you all there. And yeah, hope that you are all enjoying the coverage. What I'm going to do right now, I'm going to partially hide some of these radio messages and show you what the current championship standings would be if the drivers finish in these positions. So, as you can see, these are the driver standings going through, but the ones that we care about, the ones right at the top of the pack, they're going to be... See, Alonso still on 0 points, unfortunately. Alonso, Colapinto, Bortoleto, 3 drivers yet to score any points this season. But at the top of the pack, Piastri is going to gain 25 points. Lando Norris is going to gain 15. Verstappen is going to gain 18. In fact, Verstappen just goes up into the net lead of this race here. So things are shaping up in this sort of way if the positions stay like this. But who knows what will happen? I guess we'll have to see. I'll pop that up a little bit more later on into the race, when it's a little bit more relevant. We're still only a third of the way through the race right now. 23 laps completed out of 66. Okay, one other thing I do have to mention, because I'm sponsored by Surfshark VPN. If you guys do want to watch Formula 1 for only $2 a month, what you can do is get Surfshark VPN. You can join an Austrian VPN server, and you can search ORF onto Google, and then it's free to watch via Austria. Like, ORF is free to watch via Austria, so the only thing you have to pay for is Surfshark VPN. There are currently 300 people watching it right now on the channel using this method, so it does work, and for whatever reason, if it doesn't work for you, you can always get a refund. But yeah, go ahead and check that out. There's a link in the description. George Russell, purple in all 3 sectors, fastest out of all drivers, and he is pushing so hard. Yeah, incredible from George. I would just like to point out for the Surfshark thing, the commentary is in German. So if you do understand German, then it's perfect for you. If you don't understand German, you can always mute the commentary and you can listen to my commentary instead. You just sync up the timings, and everything works perfectly as always. All right, George Russell. George Russell's just pushing like a madman. He's on fresh mediums. Hamilton's on fresh mediums, but clearly Russell is a man on a mission, and he's going to try and get this 4th position off Hamilton and Leclerc. All right. Hamilton, has also been told to pick up the pace. His previous lap of 120.03. Russell still does gain half a second on this lap, but Hamilton has been told to pick up the pace, and Leclerc is doing, in fact, the same lap time as George Russell. So the Ferrari does have the pace in it. The question is, will Lewis Hamilton be able to extract that pace? Okay, blasting down the main straight, we have Kimi Antonelli just getting ahead of Pierre Gasly, and we have Isaac Hadjar getting ahead of Nico Hülkenberg. Again, a great overtake there for Isaac Hadjar. He's on fresh and medium tyres, and everyone now has completed 1 pit stop. We've only had, four drivers continue on, do their second stop on a set of soft. So Verstappen, Gasly, Albon and Sainz did their second stint on a set of soft tyres. Everyone else has pitted onto the mediums. Interesting strategy choices, really interesting. The drivers must take at a minimum just 1, but most likely everyone is going to be taking 2, because there's no way they can do 43 laps on a single set of medium tyres. The tyre wear is just way too high. Lawson comes over the radio saying he needs to give the position back. I think Lawson lost a position to Albon and is complaining a little bit there. We'll see what happens. That'll probably get under investigation. Right. Let's have a look then. On the next lap, Hamilton at 20.3, George Russell at 20.0. So Russell now gaining 0.3 of a second. I think he's used up his battery a little bit. He's used up his he's used up his battery, and now he's gonna try and chase down Lewis Hamilton the old-fashioned way. No battery, no assistance, just pure pace, and we'll see if he can get within DRS range. Fernando Alonso on the back here of Liam Lawson right on his tail as they blast out the final corner. The dirty air really will be hurting all of these drivers. The slipstream, the DRS is open here for Tsunoda, and it's open for Fernando Alonso as well. Lawson is gaining, and we've got defensive from the Williams driver, Albon, and Lawson still goes around the outside. Great move there. Oh, debris. There's something been splashed all over the circuit. Is that a damaged front wing again for the Williams team? Something was flying around at turn number 1. I don't know what that was, but maybe that's going to cause a VSC. because you don't want sharp carbon fiber puncturing these tires as they drive through turn number one. We'll have to keep an eye out on that. No, there is no Stroll. Stroll isn't driving today. Big front wing damage for Albon. Yeah, Albon's got front wing damage, so yeah, he's gonna have to come into the pits again. Yeah, Stroll's not driving. He's got a wrist injury, so that's why he's not taking part into the race. There's no Felipe Drogovic driving as the reserve driver because there is because he didn't take part in quali. Okay. Yeah, Lawson sort of pushed one of the drivers off the road, but okay, Albon's got front wing damage, not great really for him. And is there a lot of carbon fiber just strewn over the circuit, or is it okay? I can't really tell, but oh yeah, a bit of debris turn number one. They come over the radio to George Russell saying that. So, maybe bring out a safety car now, FIA. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? It would be a pretty nice idea. Okay, George Sonoda has come out. So he's done his first pit stop. He started out on the mediums. He went onto the softs. Now he's done another pit stop. He's out onto the soft tires. I mean, Verstappen's about to lap Sonoda. The entire Formula 1 grid is in a Red Bull sandwich. We've got Verstappen up in first place, Sonoda down in 19th. And yeah, what is going on here? I think that are they doing testing basically now with Yuki Tsunoda? Like, oh, Tsunoda, put on a set of soft tires and we'll change the front wing angle. We'll see what the grip levels are like. Because at this point, it makes no sense. Why are you doing a two stop strategy using softs? He's not going to do 40 laps on soft tires. Put him on the hards, surely, and make him go to the end of the race. They've just given up practically at this point by the looks of it. Yeah, Sainz just gets out ahead of Albon. I think Albon, suffering quite a bit from that front wing damage, and he might be coming into the pits soon. Okay, but Verstappen is in the net lead of this race. The disadvantage that he does have, though, is on the next stint, after the pit stops, after Verstappen, Piastri and Norris all come into the pits, the McLarens will be on fresh sets of soft tyres. Verstappen will be on mediums, which is a bit of a, it's going to be a pretty big downside, and we'll just have to wait and see how that happens, how that works out for them. All right, folks, we've got 46,000 people watching the stream. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Oh, 10-second penalty for Alex Albon for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. 10 seconds, that's huge. And the man's already got a broken front wing, so that's just hitting him while he's down. And wow, okay, so Albon comes out of the pits now. He's going to have a fresh set of, I think, mediums probably, or maybe hards to go right to the end of the race. A changed front wing as well. So that's 2 front wings broken now for Williams. In fact, 3. 1 broken for Sainz, 2 broken for Albon. They serve the 10-second penalty in the pit lane. So that penalty has already been applied. So you don't have to add that on at the end of the race. But, I think they continue on, really, with the broken front wing. I'm not sure. Okay. Maybe they didn't have another front wing. I think they continue on with the broken one. Let me get a replay. They continue on with the broken front wing for Alex Albon. I don't think Williams brought enough spares. We had a new front wing regulation saying that it's not allowed to flex too much. I think they brought 2 spares. They already used them, and that's it. So Albon's just going to have to drive with the damaged front wing right to the end of this race. They didn't even change tyres. What? It wasn't a drive-through penalty or a 10-second stop-go. It was a 10-second penalty. So they surely should have changed tyres by that point. Interesting. All right. Verstappen losing quite a bit of time to Piastri. Yeah, look at that. Previous lap, a 20.6 from Verstappen. Piastri, a 19.7. Nearly 9/10 of a second gain on the previous lap for Oscar Piastri. The soft tyres are reaching their end of life. The most laps anyone did on a set of softs was 24 from Kimi Antonelli. And he only really did 21 because he did 3 laps yesterday on them in quali. So what's happened there is... Verstappen's got a maximum 10 more laps on those softs before he has to come into the pits, and Piastri is gaining at a very, very rapid rate. All right, Nico Hülkenberg, purple in the first sector. Wow, great job there from Hülkenberg. He's up 6 positions, so he gained 5 positions on the opening lap, up 6 positions through so 1 more position gain through the pit stops, and now he's got Isaac Hadjar 3 seconds up the road, but he might score some points there. Great job from Nico Hülkenberg. Alonso, if he hadn't made that mistake and gone off onto the gravel, he probably would have been up ahead of Behrman as well. 11th position it would have been. He would have been at least closer to the points than he currently is. I think they're retiring. Yeah, they're retiring the car there for Alex Albon. That's it, ladies and gents. Alex Albon retires from this race. F in the chat, I think, for that one. Very, very unfortunate. 10-second penalty, broken front wing, not having enough spare parts. Terrible luck. Albon retiring from the race, ladies and gents. All right. And a singular F as well. That'd be fantastic, folks. Yeah, don't particularly want too much spam. All right. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, please be sure to do so. It would very much be appreciated. So hopefully we can hit 170k subs. We're, what, 2.5k subs away from that. Oh, Verstappen dives into the pit lane. Verstappen into the pits. Interesting. Okay. What tyres is he going to put on? Is it going to be the hards to go to the end of the race? He's got 37 laps to do. 37 laps on medium tyres is a bold choice here for Max Verstappen. Very, very bold. But he's got to try something different. Otherwise, the McLarens were just going to catch up and overtake him. And this is his best shot now. This is his best shot. Where can I watch the race for free? It's via Surfshark VPN, folks. If you guys are interested in watching Formula 1 for only $2 a month, there's a link in the description for Surfshark VPN. That really does help out the channel. You know, I get a little bit of a commission, a kickback from when you guys buy it. And what you can do is get Surfshark VPN. You join an Austrian VPN server. You go onto Google, you search ORF, and then you make an account, you log in, you can watch Formula 1 for free as long as you pay for Surfshark. So it's $2 for Surfshark and it's free for ORF. Oh, okay. Verstappen has pitted. That means he's on a 3-stop. Okay, so Norris, they've come over the radio to Lando Norris saying that Verstappen's going to be doing a 3 pit stop strategy. We did see this in the past. 2022 was a 3 pit stop race. 2023 and 2024 were 2 stops, but Verstappen has gone maximum attack on these medium tyres as well. So maybe he's doing a 3 pit stop race here. I guess that's the only way they're going to try. That's the only way that they could win, because if they do a 2-stop race, the McLarens are just going to outpace them every single time. And in theory, it might work, because if you think back, folks, when Verstappen did his first pit stop, he was quite a ways back from the McLarens, then did his first pit stop and gained all of that time back and was in a net 5 seconds ahead of him, 5 seconds ahead of the McLarens before they started catching up. So he could do that on the next 2 stints and could actually catch up to the McLaren. That might be the way forward. They're going to have to do something interesting with the strategy, but I'm going to tell you one thing. Hannah Schmitz was looking happy. Like, Hannah Schmitz was looking very, very pleased with herself. Where a couple of laps ago, they showed Hannah Schmitz on the Red Bull pit wall. If you don't know who she is, she's the Red Bull main strategist, and she was looking very pleased with herself. So maybe they're cooking something up here. Maybe they're cooking something up. Hamilton comes over the radio complaining about rear grip, just hasn't got any rear grip whatsoever. Russell is finally closing that gap. I mean, probably about 10 laps ago, the gap was... or not 10, maybe 5 laps ago, it was 1.7 seconds. It's now dipped down to 1.3. They've both been very, very consistent, but now Hamilton's tyres are wearing out a little bit. He's got 4-lap older tyres compared to Russell, and he's losing rear grip. Okay. Here we go then. 48,000 people tuned into the stream. Okay, I think once we hit 50,000, we might try to do another world record attempt of most subscribers gained in a single second. If we can hit our subscriber target within the space of 1 lap, I think that would break the record of most subscribers gained in a single minute or a single lap or something like that. Oh, a little bit of contact between the Haas of, I think that was Behrman, and against Lawson, but he stays out ahead. It does Oliver Behrman. Now, this is interesting because it was the rear wheel of Behrman that touched sort of the front wheel of Liam Lawson, and then he stayed ahead after going off the circuit. Verstappen fastest lap of the race of 1:18.2, so he's 1.5 seconds quicker here as Max Verstappen compared to Oscar Piastri. He's going to gain back this lap time so quickly. Let's wait and see. We know Max Verstappen can put in lap after lap, consistent performances after consistent performances, and if it requires him to set qualifying performance after qualifying performance every single lap for 10 laps running, Max is one driver that can do that without any mistakes. So let's wait and see. Red Bull is cooking, I think. Red Bull is cooking. The incident has been noted between Lawson and Behrman. It's under investigation right now. Hopefully Behrman doesn't get handed a 10-second time penalty. That would entirely ruin his race. He's been doing quite well, to be fair, up in 10th position. But I guess we'll have to wait and see. Previous lap again, Max Verstappen a 118.4 from him. And has he got traffic? No, he hasn't. He's got Charles Leclerc about, 4 seconds up the road? So he'll catch up to Charles Leclerc very, very quickly. He's got 12 lap fresher tyres in him. And Alonso now up into 12th place. He's got to get a Liam Lawson. These two drivers have a bit of bad blood. Maybe we'll see what happens. Verstappen comes over the radio saying, it's like I've got no clutch when upshifting. And then they say 1973, basically referencing Max Verstappen's radio, saying, "Oh, it's like I'm in. It's like the gearbox is from 1973, and the car's jerking around when he's shifting," which doesn't help. It unsettles the car, it increases tire temperature, leads to the car sliding around a little bit here and there. But Verstappen will have to deal with it, and clearly he is if he's purple in the first sector. Right, I'm going to have a sip of water. My throat, I've been talking for about, how long have I been streaming? An hour and a half. So I've basically talked for an hour and a half straight. So I'm going to have a quick sip of water, folks. I'll be back in just about 10 seconds. But we are at the halfway point of this race. Max Verstappen is cooking with a 3 pit stop strategy. And McLaren we'll see if Red Bull are playing 4D chess or if they're just going to get outpaced by the McLarens. Also, I will just read out the positions for anyone listening to this like a radio broadcast and aren't looking at the screen. I'll read out the positions. So we got Piastri in first position, Norris in second, Leclerc in third, Verstappen in fourth, Hamilton fifth, Russell sixth, Anthony seventh, Hadjar in eighth. Really good drive from Hadjar, to be fair. Same thing for Nico Hülkenberg, 9th position for him. Behrman in 10th. Hopefully he doesn't get handed a 10-second time penalty. We'll wait and see. Lawson in 11th position. Alonso in 12th. Sainz in 13th. Bortoleto 14th. Ocon 15th. Tsunoda 16th. Gasly 17th. Colapinto 18th. Albon is 19th. And Stroll did not start the race due to a wrist injury. Okay. What else have we got going on then? Bortoleto gets ahead of Carlos Sainz. Nice overtake there from Bortoleto. Sainz, unfortunately, he's on those soft tyres. He's done 24 laps on them, but they're reaching the end of their life, and sooner or later he's going to have to come into the pits. Is it going to be the hard tyres? We haven't seen a single driver use the hard tyres just as of yet, and that's because the long-run pace wasn't that promising on them. When the free practice sessions, they did do some long runs on the hard tyres. The pace wasn't that promising, and they're being careful. Okay. I guess that's why they're not using them. Okay, they come over the radio to Lando Norris saying Leclerc is 4.9 seconds behind. Verstappen is 8 seconds behind. We are going to have to be careful. They're part of our race. Essentially suggesting that Max Verstappen's 3 pit stop strategy might affect Lando Norris. It might not affect Piastri because Piastri is 4 seconds up the road. Here comes Max Verstappen now. He's got DRS on Charles Leclerc. How easy is Leclerc going to make it? He knows that they're not really in the same battle, but if Leclerc does hold up Max Verstappen on this occasion, it does put him in a better position to potentially get P3. So, and really, Leclerc hasn't got much to worry behind him. Hamilton, his teammate, is 10 seconds back. So Leclerc can defend for about 10 laps before Hamilton even gets close to catching up. So will Leclerc defend? Will he not? Let's wait and see. Verstappen gets a very nice exit out of turn number 12, heads towards turn number 13, and let's wait and see what he can do. Okay. He's got the DRS, he's got the slipstream, he's within 0.3 of a second. They come over the radio to Norris saying they can push a little bit harder in turn 3 and 9, and Norris comes over the radio saying that he can't. His front left is graining and he's not got any grip. Fair enough. The front tyres are a real big pain point, and Leclerc makes the overtake so easy. Verstappen down the inside, up into P3, and now what he's got to do is chase down the McLarens. This is the thing now. So Red Bull have got 1 pit stop left. Lando Norris and McLaren, McLaren have also got 1 pit stop left. So now the job for Max Verstappen is just to be in line with these drivers. So when it comes to the final stint, he'll be either ahead of them or approximately close to them so he can get an overtake done. He just sails past Charles Leclerc. There's no sort of contest there, to be honest. Okay. Also, folks, if you are enjoying the coverage, be sure to hit the like button, be sure to subscribe. We're getting towards 168k subs now, so thanks everyone for hitting the like button. Thanks everyone for subscribing. Very much is appreciated. Okay. Yeah, Verstappen purple in the first sector now. We'll keep an eye out on the lap times, but Piastri a 120.1 and Norris a 119.8 and Charles Leclerc, Norris in fact a 119.6. So he's been instructed over the radio to start picking up the pace because Verstappen is going to close up at a rate of knots. Verstappen in fact gets a bit of DRS off one of the back markers, gets ahead of them nice and quickly, but now traffic is going to start becoming an issue here. Piastri's going to start getting traffic from Gasly. Verstappen's got to get ahead of Behrman. Traffic will start to become an issue, and we've got the final three drivers in the last three positions already lapped. What happened to Albon? Albon had a damaged front wing and also a 10-second time penalty, so that's why he just retired from the race. Okay. Yeah, this is it then. 30 laps left of this race. It's turning into a very strategic battle. We've had some pretty good overtakes around here. You know, some interesting ones from Max going around the outside. I think it was Kimi Antonelli. And Piastri here just gaining a bit of DRS off, who is this? Colapinto? No, Gasly. Yeah, Pierre Gasly. Blue flag for him. Okay, they come over the radio to Russell saying, okay, George, time to close up the gap. And Russell's like, oh, I'm pushing already, mate. And yeah, the gap previously was 1.4 seconds. It's now extended up a little bit to 2.2, 2.3. I think Russell did have to drop off the back of Hamilton because his tyres were wearing out too much. And is also the dirty air really does overheat them quite a bit. So he's got to be careful. Okay, according to the data, apparently Max Verstappen will catch up to Lando Norris within 6 laps or so. We'll wait and see, but as you can see, Lando Norris's lap times, he's going nearly a second quicker than Piastri. In fact, he's catching up to Piastri here. I mean, maybe Piastri had a bit of traffic on the previous lap. That probably was hindering him, but let's see. Verstappen also has to get ahead of Behrman. He's got a bit of traffic to deal with as well. The drivers lose 22 seconds under the pit stops. 22 seconds, and if it's a safety car or a virtual safety car, they only lose 12 seconds. So, you know, a safety car right now would be pretty helpful for a lot of drivers. So Max will use the softs next. Maybe he'll use the softs, maybe he'll use the hards. The hards don't really seem to last that, don't seem to be that quick. So maybe soft tyres right to the end of the race. I guess we'll just have to see, really. Maybe Max Verstappen just tries to go right to the end of the race. Maybe he just backs out of it. And because the thing is now, if Piastri pits now, he's going to come out, 14 seconds back from Verstappen. And then, actually, no, that's not going to work because Piastri will be 14 seconds back, but it'll be in a faster car, fresher tyres, and will breeze past Max once he catches up to him. So I guess we'll have to see. F1 Gamer, I have 2 questions. First, what do you think about the podium will be? Second, do you think Bortoleto will get Alonso or finish the race in the points? No, I don't think Bortoleto will catch up to Alonso. Alonso seems to have a little bit more pace than him. And Alonso's, in fact, a little bit caught up trying to catch up to Lawson. Purple first sector here from Lando Norris, still pushing as hard as he possibly can, 4 tenths quicker than his teammate. Oh god. Okay, so McLaren into team battle. I mean, please, okay, because this will really help Max Verstappen. Because if the McLaren start battling, Verstappen's going to catch up, and I mean that's great news. That's great news. Okay, maybe Piastri's saving his pace, maybe he's not. Who knows? But purple first sector for Norris. Obviously, that was partly due to the fact that he would have had blue flags on Gasly, which would have helped him out, get a bit of an extra speed down the straight. Albon retired. He got broken front wing, broken damage. 10-second penalty, and he was already in dead last. So they just decided to retire the car. Okay. Yeah, I guess we'll see what happens. I mean, I just really hope that we get a battle. Even if it's just Piastri and Norris, that'd be great. It doesn't have to be Max Verstappen, but it looks like Norris is closing up, really. Our previous couple of laps, he's been taking significant chunks out of Oscar Piastri, and I'm all here for it. You know, if these two drivers can battle away, we haven't seen them sort of boil over. Previously, at the end of last season, they were trying to get Norris to win the championship, so Piastri had to be sacrificed a few times, but that ended up not working. So that boiled over towards the end of last season, but they were never really in for a championship fight. This time, though, they're leading the championship. It's 1-2 for the McLarens in the Drivers' Championship. It's got to start boiling over much, much sooner. And I'm all here for it, really. I'm all here for it. They're working their way through traffic, which is obviously helping out Piastri on occasion. He'll get some DRS sometimes to help him down the straights. Okay. So they've come over the radio to Max saying that McLaren have just realised that they're under threat. So essentially, I think the strategy worked. Whatever strategy Red Bull were playing at, it's worked because McLaren weren't expecting to be under threat. But however, they understand that they are now because Verstappen, at this current moment in time, has got 9 lap fresher tyres than Norris, 8 lap fresher tyres than Piastri. And what he's going to try and do is, well, close that gap up. It's 4.7 seconds currently. Norris has been pushing, but Verstappen has still been gaining on Piastri, like a net gain on Piastri, even though he's losing a bit of time to Norris. So yeah, Charles Leclerc comes into the pits for his final pit stop. It is going to be, I think, let's see what tyres is it going to be for Charles Leclerc. He comes out of the pit lane, 21.8 seconds for him, a very quick pit stop indeed. And what tyres is it for him? Set of mediums to go to the end of the race. Yeah, Leclerc was one of 3 drivers in the entire grid that had 3 sets of medium tyres. So he comes out on, 2 sets of medium tyres. So he comes out on those. All right. Yeah, Charles's tyre just fell off a cliff on that stint. Yeah, I don't know. The Ferrari hasn't been so great on their tyre wear, and neither has the Mercedes, really. Russell's struggling still quite a bit to stay on the back of Hamilton. I think his best shot is going to be trying to undercut him, because on pure pace, closing up that gap, because the lap times and the pace between the McLarens, the Mercedes and the Ferrari is super duper close, which makes it very tough to get close and to overtake. But an undercut is definitely a viable option. So we'll just have to wait and see. Right. Lance Stroll's not taking part in this race. He's got a wrist injury, so that's why he is not taking part. All right, George Russell into the pits. Here we go. Undercut time for the Mercedes crew. They need a quick pit stop here for George. He's probably going to come out on a set of soft tyres. I think 25 laps left of the race. If he did 19 laps at the start of the race, 23 laps on the start of the race on a set of softs, he can definitely do 26 with a lower fuel load towards the end. I think using the hard tyres would be essentially throwing the race away, because those hard tyres are just so slow. And here comes George Russell. What's it going to be for him? It's medium tyres as expected. All right, we saw this on the medium tyres. It's soft tyres, for George Russell. But we saw on the mediums, he came out immediately and set purple second sector and third sector. So I'm expecting the same. He's going to try and undercut Lewis Hamilton. Let's keep an eye on the radio messages for Lewis. What are they going to do for him? Are they going to come into the pits immediately, stop the undercut from happening? Are they going to forget about the fact that they have to do strategy down at Ferrari and they're just going to let George Russell undercut them? Russell has come out in a bit of clean air. He's got Colapinto ahead of him, who is a lapped car, who should get out of the way nicely, but you never really know with these things. The blue flags aren't the best rule in the world, and sometimes it takes a while for the drivers to get out. Let's have a look at Hamilton's lap times. Middle sector, 32.6 for Lewis Hamilton. And as you can see, George Russell, oh my God, he goes 2 seconds quicker in the middle sector. The gap was 2 seconds when they came into the pits. The undercut has worked, ladies and gentlemen. And we have got George Russell. He will have undercut Lewis Hamilton by the time he comes out of the final corner. So, yeah, don't know what Ferrari are doing, but they've basically just thrown away P4. Maybe they've got some trick up their sleeve, but considering it's Ferrari, I'm not holding out, All right. Will McLaren box for softs? Yeah, I think that's the best choice really for them. Verstappen should also have another fresh. He won't have a fresh set of softs. Sorry, he will have a used set of soft tires, and maybe he will. Maybe that'll happen. Yeah, maybe that will work for him as well. Okay, so here comes George Russell then. It is purple in the first sector again. Oh my goodness me. How much time is lost in the pits? 22 seconds. That's how much is lost in the pit lane. We've got the Aston Martin's crew have done their final pit stop for Fernando Alonso. He comes out of the pits out in 16th position, unfortunately. I mean, there are a couple more drivers ahead of him yet to pit, which should change things up, but not ideal, really. Not ideal, to say the least. Yeah, Bortoleto technically didn't. I don't think Bortoleto passed him, or maybe he did, but maybe that was just through the pit stops. Thanks everyone for tuning in. By the way, we got 51,000 people tuned in. That is incredible. I think we might actually be the biggest live stream on YouTube again. So that's very, very much appreciated. And hope to see you guys all for the the Canadian Grand Prix in 2 weeks' time. I think Lance Stroll will return for his home Grand Prix. That'll be good for him. Fernando Alonso gets ahead of his fellow Spaniard, up into 16th position. I don't think Sainz fights it too much. Alonso's on fresh softs. Sainz is on some mediums, and their luck really hasn't been this good. All right. All right. Also, folks, it would be we've got 51,000 people watching the stream, and normally it's 75% of you aren't subscribed. So I would like to try and break the record for the number of subscribers gained in a single second or a single lap, let's say, because it takes a while for this to update. So when we're going to do it, when Piastri comes across the start-finish line on the next lap, that is when we are going to... That's when anyone that hasn't subscribed and would like to subscribe, if you could hit the subscribe button, that'd be fantastic. Hopefully we can get towards 170k. We've just hit 168k, so hopefully we can hit gain 2,000 subscribers in a minute. That would be very, very cool. Yeah, let's see if it happens. Because I'd love to hit 200k by the end of the season. I'm also going to release some merch once we hit 200k for all of the Formula 1 drivers. Obviously, we'll have a lot more merch for the main ones like Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Sainz, Hamilton, Leclerc. But I will do merch for all of the drivers, for anyone that supports, the drivers in the lower teams as well. Okay, so here comes Piastri then out of the final two corners. He's looking pretty good, to be fair. His Lando Norris was gaining on him previously, but now he's got a bit of clean air. He's got some fresh tyres. Not fresh tyres. He's just got clean air, really. No traffic ahead of him. And his lap time's looking fantastic. A 1:19.43. Anyone that hasn't subscribed would be appreciated to do so. And if we hit 170k, I will do another. If we hit 170k this stream, then I will do another giveaway for Surfshark VPN. So... yeah, all you've got to do is type a single message into the chat, and then you'll get entered into the giveaway if we hit 170k. So hopefully we can do that. All right, but that's enough of the YouTube yip yap. Back to the Formula 1 coverage, and Piastri is lapping significantly quicker than Norris. So Piastri, I think, was just holding his pace in. They come over the radio to Piastri saying, we're going to go +3 on their target. So whatever pit stop, whenever they were going to come into the pits, they're going to come in 3 laps later. And Verstappen, that gap between Verstappen and Norris is still 4 seconds. You would think that he's on fresher tyres, which would help him close the gap, but the McLarens are just so much quicker. Yeah, I guess we'll see. And also, folks, if you can't type a message into chat, you have to subscribe for 1 minute before YouTube will let you type a message. So it's just to prevent spammers and stuff like that. So if you hit the subscribe button, wait a minute, and then you can type in chat. F1 Gamer is so goated. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very, very much indeed. Right, here we go then. Oscar Piastri is 5 seconds clear of Lando Norris, and that gap is getting bigger and bigger. This will be win number 5 for Oscar Piastri if he gets this one. In fact, folks, what I will do, I'll show you the championship standings. In fact, this will be pretty important. So, we've just scrolled past the front runners, but Antonelli gaining some key points here. Hamilton gaining some points on Charles Leclerc. He's ahead of him for now, but Leclerc's done his pit stop. Hamilton hasn't, so I think Leclerc will come out ahead of him. Alonso still on no points. Bortoleto, currently, if he finishes like this, then he will gain some points, but he's still yet to do his final pit stop. Hamilton finally dives into the pits. Oh, it's a slow stop for Hamilton. Front right tyre having some issues there, and I think it was 4.9 seconds. He loses a little bit of time, but not too much of a concern. He was already undercut by George Russell. He's already been undercut. Oh no, he's already been undercut by George Russell. Maybe by Antonelli. Antonelli is still not far ahead enough. So look at that gap. The undercut worked absolute wonders for Mercedes. The gap between Hamilton and Russell is 14 seconds? Huge. So 14 seconds is the gap. That is incredibly large that they gained under the undercut there. Wow. I mean, Russell was lapping so much quicker. He was 2 seconds faster just in the middle sector alone compared to Lewis Hamilton. So that's why the gap's so big. And yeah, Ferrari threw away that P4. Oh, actually, no, it's not going to be P4, is it? It's going to be, they threw away a P5 for Lewis Hamilton. Russell still got to close up to the back of Leclerc. Let's see what happens there, actually, because Russell's on the fresher, he's on the fresher tyres, and he's also on the soft tyres. Oh, it looks like they're boxing this lap. Okay, look at the point standings here. 25 points gained for Piastri, 18 points gained for Norris, and 15 points gained for Verstappen. That just extends Piastri's lead out up front. Verstappen into the pits. Verstappen into the pits now. Okay, that is going to... All right, where does he come out then? He comes out on a set of soft tyres just ahead of Yuki Tsunoda, his teammates. Fastest lap of the race there from Tsunoda. Okay, pretty good going. I mean, he's done another pit stop. He's going on hards. This is his third pit stop now for Yuki Tsunoda. I guess that was a strategy all along. 3 pit stops for them, 3 pit stops for Max Verstappen as well. And now Verstappen is going to try and undercut them. So this is key. Maximum attack from Max Verstappen now. Look, the middle sector that Piastri and Norris are doing are 130.0. Verstappen now coming towards turn number 10. He's going to be attacking as much as he can, but we've got Norris into the pits already. Norris knows of the threat of the undercut. They saw what it did to George Russell and how it helped him out so much. Let's see what happens there. Verstappen 30.9. He gains an entire second, 1.2 seconds just in the middle sector alone. Will it be enough though? Coming through the final corner, Norris probably is still going to come out ahead. It was a smooth pit stop for the McLaren crew, so no issues there. And Verstappen comes down the main straight. Norris comes out of the pits, and the gap looks to be 2 seconds. Yeah, 2 seconds exactly. Verstappen will have slightly warmer tyres, which is going to help him close that gap up, but yeah, it's now or never for Max. If he wants to get an overtake done, get ahead of the McLarens, this is his only opportunity. Gap down to 1 second. He's under DRS range. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. A battle for second place. And if these two start squabbling, Piastri's going to be safe. I think Piastri might be coming into the pits very soon as well. Oh no, they come over the radio to Piastri. Box for him as well. Okay, so Piastri coming into the pits, and now it's a straight fight between Max Verstappen and Lando Norris. On the previous occasion, Norris just breezed past Verstappen because there was no sort of fight in it, but Verstappen purple in the first sector. He holds onto the back of Norris through the middle sector, and this might be their saving grace. Carlos Sainz is probably going to give slipstream and a DRS to Lando Norris unless he gets out of the way before turn number 13. Let's see now. Does Sainz get out of the way at turn number 12, or is he going to give Lando Norris DRS? Because this could be the one opportunity that Norris gets. This could be the one opportunity that Verstappen gets to overtake Norris, and he might just get saved by the fact that Carlos Sainz is there, giving Norris some slipstream. Oh, you know, of course, old teammates Carlos Sainz and Lando Norris. Fastest lap of the race there for Max Verstappen, but they've both got DRS. And does Sainz let Verstappen by? Yes, he does. Okay, so Sainz does let Verstappen by. He's on a slightly compromised line going down the start-finish straight, but yeah, this might have been his best shot. He's got to hold it together now. He's going to use all of his overtake, everything that he possibly can to try and get close to and try and stay within this 1 second window. But it's small. It's like the gap now. Yeah, he's already dropped out of it. He's got a couple more corners to stay within. Otherwise, it seems like a dead set third place for Max. Piastri comes into the pits. He's 4 seconds ahead of Norris. No issues there. He's got a lot of traffic ahead of him, to be fair. But yeah, Norris is. I think Piastri's got a lot of pace left in the bank, and Lando Norris not so much. Okay, they've passed the DRS detection point. Verstappen, 1.2 seconds back. Not ideal whatsoever. Maybe the traffic will help him out. That's another thing that could happen. If Verstappen does his best, I think they'll probably be coming over the radio to Verstappen right now, just saying, stay on the back of him because there is traffic approaching very, very rapidly. And that's going to cause Norris to lose time before it starts Verstappen losing time. Verstappen comes over the race saying, mate, the ride of the car is completely broken. I don't know what he's talking about there. I mean, I suspect he's just talking about how bumpy it is and everything, but I don't see how that changes after a pit stop. And yeah, that gap 1.1 seconds. Bortoletto into the pits for his final pit stop, and that is going to be it. Everyone now has done either 2 or 3 pit stops. In fact, the only teams to actually do a 3 pit stop strategy are Yuki Tsunoda, is Red Bull. Verstappen and Tsunoda both did a 3 stop strategy. And I think it probably worked out best for them. There was no way that Verstappen was only going to be 1 second back from Norris if he did a 2-stop strategy. He would have been way back, potentially even fighting Charles Leclerc. But the 3 stops worked out for him, and now Norris is approaching traffic. So this is his best shot. Race is on. Lewis is getting those 118s over the radio from Adami. I mean, to be fair, he's doing quite well to be honest, and he's going to try and close up to the back of Russell. But Russell knows that Hamilton's catching up, and he will be prepared for that. Like he'll have his battery charged for when Hamilton gets close, if he does get close. And realistically, look at that gap; it's 10 seconds. Like there are only 16 laps left of this race. It's going to be a tough one. And there we go, yeah. Norris gets ahead of Alonso and he doesn't get ahead of Verstappen. And, they nearly go off into the escape road there. But we have, who is that? Oh, someone going off, someone going wide at turn number 1 again, and there's traffic coming through. Oh my god, this is a big mix of things. Lawson and Behrman still battling away. There was no penalty for Behrman for, that 10-second thing where he exceeded track limits, but now again with traffic coming through, they were fighting away, and they nearly went off onto the grass. Wow, it's getting very, very fierce between those two, and they're still not even in the points. Alonso's right on the tail of Lawson here, in fact. These two have some history. Back in Mexico, they were racing apparently way too hard, according to Alonso. Like, there was no point really battling away for a 14th position. Lawson was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna just give up a position to someone because they're an older driver than me. I'm going to fight them tooth and nail." And I think Alonso's going to do the exact same thing right back to him. So here they are coming through the final sector now. Alonso's right on Lawson's tail. Lawson does have the benefit of slipstream from Behrman ahead of him. I think that's the only thing that's been helping him out. It's a DRS train that's been held up by Behrman. Lawson's been getting closer and closer. Alonso unable to go flat, I think, through the final corner. He has to even hit the brakes before going through the final corner because the dirty air has such a negative impact on his downforce levels. And that is why we are seeing... that's why... We're seeing Alonso stuck there. Lawson again tries to swoop around the outside of Behrman, and he does so. Okay, nicely done there from Lawson, up into 11th position. And the gap up at the front, 1.4 seconds. Verstappen is keeping Norris very, very honest. If there's even the slightest of little mistakes, a little bit of rear sliding out here and there, Verstappen's going to be right on Norris's tail. It's not over just yet. And also, this is interesting, the gap between Piastri and Norris is down to 3 seconds. It was previously, I think, 4.5. It's now down to 3. So we could have 3 drivers converging onto first position for the final lap of the race. All right, we've got 54,000 people tuning into live stream. We're getting pretty close to 169k subs. Actually, that's a very nice number. If we could get 4 more subscribers, hit 169k subs, that'd be fantastic. I think everyone in the chat should type nice once that happens. We're 3 subscribers away now. So yeah, thanks everyone for hitting the subscribe button. Hopefully, if you hit 170, I'll do a giveaway for Surfshark VPN, but we'll just have to wait and see. Verstappen using a little. Visor tear off there as he goes through turn number 4. Okay, very nice. We hit 169k subs. Fantastic. Okay, dokes. Verstappen unfortunately drops off the back of Lando Norris there. Piastri is 3 seconds clear of Lando Norris. It's looking like this battle is getting... Well... Maybe it'll hot up, maybe it won't. On the previous lap, Piastri goes half a second clear of Lando Norris. He's got so much pace left in the tank as Oscar Piastri. Controlling this race from the front, very similar to what we saw from Max Verstappen back in his domination days in 2023 and 2024. Well, I say start of 2024, let's say he was dominating. But yeah, incredible. All right. Also, I would just like to give a big shout out to all of the channel members, all of the channel members, all of the people that have hit the like button, all the people that subscribed, especially the channel members. You help out the channel, especially with all the donations and everything. You've allowed me to get a really good professional mic setup and a really good laptop for streaming. So yeah, very much is appreciated, and I'm doing my best to block all of the adverts so you guys don't have to watch any adverts. If I'm about to say, "Oh, Verstappen's about to overtake Norris," and then you get an advert about car insurance, it's not the best experience. So, hopefully you guys haven't got any ads. Banana Goat, thanks for the donation there. $2 donation, 53k people here. Let's sub it up. Thank you, everyone. 53,000 people. That's incredible. Oh, yellow flag, yellow flag. Oh, Antonelli at turn number 10. Is this... Oh, he's off in the gravel trap. Has he beached it? Has he beached it? Is this going to be a virtual safety car? Safety car? What's going on? It's all going to get thrown up into the water. Yeah, he's beached it. There's no way he's getting out of that. Toto Wolff shakes his head in disappointment. Safety car's out. Yeah. Let's go. Safety car is out, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Everyone's done their pit stops. So are the drivers going to come in again for a fresh step? If Verstappen comes out now, the driver behind him, Charles Leclerc, is 22 seconds back. So Verstappen should be able to theoretically get a pit stop and not get overtaken by Charles Leclerc. That will give him a fresh set of soft tyres, and Norris and Piastri won't have a fresh set. Ooh, this is okay. Well, I mean, fantastic timing as the race was boring up just a little bit. Thank you, Kimmy, very much. It's appreciated. All right, we got the McLarens into the pits. Piastri goes into the pit lane. They're double stacking. Does Verstappen continue on? Does he come into the pits? Verstappen also comes into the pit lane. A double stack for the McLaren team. Are they going to lose time here? Verstappen... they lose time for Norris. It's a slow pit stop. Does Verstappen get out ahead of them? 3.9 for Norris, and no, Verstappen just stays behind them. The top three all come into the pits. Everyone diving into the pit lane now. Alonso into the pits. Behrman into the pits. Leclerc continues. Leclerc into the pits as well. Okay. All right. So this is... Oh, Verstappen's on hards. Verstappen's on fresh set of hard tyres. The hard tyres aren't that grippy, Max. I don't know what you're really thinking here. There are 11 laps after this race. Okay. I don't know what Red Bull are doing. They pulled off a pretty good strategy masterclass to get Max so close to Norris in the first place. But now they put him on hard tyres. What? Very, very confusing. All right, well, we'll see how long the safety car lasts as well. They've already backed some drivers up. They're going to have to let the lapped cars by as well. Antonelli was stuck right in the middle of the gravel trap, so they're going to get a tractor out to lift him up and get him off the road. Verstappen says, what the F? What is this tyre? And then Verstappen's like, why are we on the hard tyre? That was the only option, apparently. So Verstappen didn't have another set of fresh softs. Piastri and Norris, they had a fresh set of softs that they were using during qualifying, and they'd only done one hot lap on them, and that was fine. But Verstappen clearly didn't have that, so that was the only option. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll see how it plays out then. Surely they should have just continued on. You know, the pace difference between 11 lap old soft tyres and 3 lap old soft tyres surely isn't that big, whereas the difference between a fresh set of hards and a fresh set of softs is huge. So it would have made sense for Verstappen to continue on, not come into the pit lane, and then be in the lead against Piastri and Norris. Surely that would have made a little bit more sense. I don't know. I mean, if Verstappen can get these tyres switched on, maybe something will work out for him. Should not have boxed. That would have made sense, wouldn't it? The hards are 1.5 seconds slower. Okay. Right. Recovery vehicles already on the track. They're already picking up Kimi Antonelli's car. I think the lapped cars are going to get let by very, very soon. I think everyone has to sort of bunch up and then they let the lap cars by. So it's going to take a while. We've got 10 laps after this race. We won't finish under safety car conditions. We'll probably have, I think, maybe 5-6 laps of racing left. Yeah. Right. Here we go then. Ocon is going to be sort of in a little bit of trouble there. He's on medium tyres, whereas everyone else around him is on softs. That might not work out so well. Lawson is on softs, but they're pretty old softs, so he's going to have a hard time defending against Ocon and the drivers behind him on fresh softs. Ferrari's infiltrated the Red Bull strategy team. Yeah, I don't know why they came into the pits. I mean, maybe they'll let us know later. If someone has any explanation, then do let me know. They gave up P1 to go hards versus softs with less than 10 laps left. Like, let's say if it was 20 laps, it would make really good sense because the soft tyres would wear out and the hard tyres would become quicker in the final 5-10 laps or so. But with only 10 laps left to go, there's no way that the hard tyres become quicker than the softs. Robert Greenlee, thanks for the donation. Very much is appreciated. Thanks for the $10 donation. Why did suddenly Red Bull lose their brain cells? No idea. Calavano, I don't know, for the win. Okay. Thanks for the donation. Right. I'm going to have a quick sip of water. 10 laps after this race. All of the cars are pretty much backed up now, so they should let the lapped cars go by, and then we should get underway for racing very, very soon. But they've thrown away some points, Mercedes. This is very, very critical for the Constructors' Championship. Let me run through, actually, the Constructors' Championship. So let's say the drivers finish as they are right now. We're going to have Piastri in first, Norris in second, Verstappen in third. The top 8 drivers stay in the exact same position. Nobody gains or loses spots. Hadjar goes up into 9th. But the main thing now for the Constructors, let's have a look. There you can see, right, we're going to have McLaren gain a bunch of points because, well, they're just so fast. They're in 1-2, really. Ferrari, they're going to gain 20 points. They're going to jump up from the team that was currently in 5th position up into 2nd. Then we have Red Bull gaining 15 and Mercedes only gaining 10. Mercedes were in 2nd. They drop down to 4th. Red Bull stay where they are and Ferrari go all the way up into 2nd place. So it really mixes things up for the championship. Yeah. And yeah, that once again is just the drivers. You can have a quick look at it as we are under safety car conditions. I'll take you through another lap of the circuit, show you where all the overtaking zones are. But Max is the only driver. Max had to swap off softs 16 laps twice. He probably wouldn't have lasted 22 laps on softs without significantly losing positions. Yes, but also he would have done quite a lot of laps behind the safety car, and laps behind the safety car aren't real push laps. So technically, he would have. Technically, it would have been 20 laps or something on softs, but realistically, if 7 of them were on safety car, behind the safety car, it wouldn't have been too much of an issue. Yeah. All right, so that is the championship standings. Let me go to that. We've got another donation coming. Thanks everyone for all the donations. Very much is appreciated. I mean, you guys don't feel obligated to donate or something like. I don't really need the money, but yeah, thanks. Very much is appreciated regardless. Banana Goat, yo, 50k, 54k people here. Can we get 170k subs this live? Also, who's your driver of the day? Ooh, that's a good question. I'm going to go with Nico Hülkenberg. It's got to be the Hulk. I mean, he started down in 15th position, up into 8th, 7 positions gained, and he's been driving fantastically. He's now got fresh softs up against Isaac Hadjar. He may even be able to get best of the rest on those in the Sauber. Yeah. All right. Safety car is letting the lap cars by. The lap cars are being told to go by now. So everyone, they'll now catch up to the back of the pack. The track is also clear. So where Antonelli was, his car has been picked up. We've got the message from Race Control, track clear, which now means that we are getting very, very close to going underway for racing. We've just had another donation. Matt Bailey, thanks for the donation. Thanks for the amazing stream and the commentary. Well, thanks to everyone for tuning in. We've got 55,000 people. That's incredible. Again, just breaking records left, right, and centre here. Very much is appreciated. It looks like we might even be the biggest live stream on YouTube. Let me just go onto the live page of YouTube, see what's popping. We might be the biggest one live. Yeah, as far as I can tell, we are the biggest live stream on YouTube. Even bigger than the PSG celebrations that they won the Champions League yesterday. Very cool, very cool. Okay, current drive of the day split, Max Verstappen 17%, Oscar Piastri 13%, Lando Norris 10%, that's what they say. But folks, let me know who you think is going to be your driver of the day. And we'll see what Verstappen does, really. I mean, to be fair, Verstappen's strategy was very good. He pulled off that strategy very well, like quali lap after quali lap, lapping very quick, every single lap. So, maybe he deserves driver of the day there, but personally, I'm going to say Nico Hülkenberg. That Sauber is terribly slow. They brought their last upgrade of the season this weekend, and clearly, Hülkenberg has used it to its fullest extent. Okay, lapped cars now will be catching up very, very soon. So 8 laps left of this race. I think we're going to have 5 or 6 laps left of racing right at the end. But why the hard tyres? They had no other choice, apparently, but I think the softs would have made it to the end, and it still would have been fine. Wouldn't Max finish behind McLaren's or Piastri, if he stayed out, he'd have older tyres and get over. Yeah, but the thing is, it would have at least given him a better chance to stay ahead. You can go super duper aggressive defending, and then you can have the two McLarens fight amongst themselves. Whereas in this situation, he's never even going to reach P1 by the looks of it. Maybe if he gets a good slipstream out of on the safety car restart, might get ahead of Norris, but it's highly unlikely. On hard tyres, he's going to get ahead of McLarens that are on softs. So that's why it's slightly better. Yeah. Oh, 57k. I mean, this is the record number of people we've had on a live stream is 61k. So we're getting pretty close to that. Also, folks, if you haven't hit the like button, you haven't subscribed, be sure to do that. We're getting close to 170k. And again, if we hit 170k, I'll do a giveaway for the for Surfshark VPN. If you guys are interested in watching Formula 1 for $2 a month, what you can do is get Surfshark VPN. There's a link in the description. Safety car's in this lap, folks. Safety car is in this lap. Fantastic. Hamilton comes over the radio saying they love wasting laps, and yeah, they were. Safety car in this lap, though. If you want to watch Surfshark for only $2 a month, what you do, you get Surfshark VPN. You watch via you join an Austrian VPN server, you go onto Google, you search ORF, you join, and you log in, make an account, you can watch Formula 1 for free. The only thing you have to pay for is Surfshark VPN. We've got 350 people now watching it using this method on the channel, so it definitely does work, and if it doesn't work, you can get a refund. But yeah, the link in the description to Surfshark is in the link is in the description. And the other thing, if you do want to enter the giveaway for the Surfshark VPN thing, you just got to type a message into the chat. So just hit the subscribe button, wait 1 minute, and then I'll let you type into the chat. And that is that. But safety car is in this lap. Enough of the YouTube fluff now. It's pure commentary, pure Formula 1, right to the end of this race here. Oscar Piastri is backing them all up. All of the lapped cars have caught up. Everyone now is on the lead lap. 7 laps left to go. Here we go. Who is it going to be? Is it going to be Oscar Piastri? Is it going to be Lando Norris or Max Verstappen? Who gets onto the podium? Will Charles Leclerc be able to steal a podium away from Max? The track is clear. Oscar Piastri is now down to let them start racing whenever he would like to. Has he gone? By the looks of it, he has. He has put his foot flat to the floor, and Charles Leclerc's already got it. Oh, Verstappen loses the rear out of the final corner. Leclerc down the inside, the hard tyres not into temperature. Leclerc already into third place. Great move there by Leclerc, and Hulkenberg's trying to overtake Hadjar into turn 1. Oh my goodness me, and Verstappen goes wide, he loses another position, he stays he stays just ahead of George Russell, but Leclerc up into third. Could Leclerc spoil the McLaren's fun? Is Norris going to be able to stay behind Piastri? Is Piastri going to be able to stay ahead? It's all kicking off here. And Verstappen, terrible race start. Huge snap of oversteer as he came out of there, and now he's going to be complaining. He rammed into me. He did the same, that's a penalty. Okay, so Verstappen saying that someone should get a penalty. I guess we'll see what happens there, but here we go. Piastri up in the lead of this race, 1 second. 1 second ahead of his teammate. He's already looking to break that DRS, and he's done that quite successfully. Verstappen is going to be holding up a huge DRS train here. He's on the hard tyres. They have got nowhere near enough pace as the softs, and Verstappen saying, Charles just rammed into me on the straight. That's what Verstappen's saying. Interesting. I'll get a replay. I think maybe there was some contact, but I guess Leclerc still stays ahead for now. They'll maybe go under investigation. We'll wait and see. But the McLarens have pulled away. Norris is within 1 second. He doesn't have DRS. DRS has been enabled now on this lap. DRS has been enabled. So if he's still within 1 second by turn number 9 and turn number 10, he'll get DRS at that point. Fastest lap of the race there for Oscar Piastri. 15.74 tenths quicker than his teammate. Incredible. And yeah, just a little incident really from Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen. And 10-second time penalty for Behrman for leaving the track and gaining advantage. That's his race over. That's going to put him in dead last. Hulkenberg gets ahead of Isaac Hadjar, 7th place for him, so 8th positions gained for Nico Hulkenberg. Most certainly my driver of the day. And let's get the replay for Charles Leclerc versus Verstappen. I think there's a little bit of contact. There is a little bit of contact, but I don't think ramming into him is like the best way to describe it. Okay, here they are going down the main straight, and yeah, a little bit of contact. Leclerc just sort of pushed him over to the left-hand side. He was expecting Verstappen to yield towards the left. He didn't, and that's what happened there. Gap up at the front, 1.1 seconds. Piastri is a man on the mission. He's got to stay ahead of Lando Norris here. if he wants to win this race. Well, obviously he's got to stay ahead of Norris to win this race. I mean, here I am waffling again. Russell, however, did have significant contact with Verstappen, and he's currently got DRS on Verstappen, trying to overtake him, but it's under investigation right now. Turn 1 incident between Verstappen and Russell, and we'll see if Russell gets a 10-second penalty or if anything happens because of it. But I think if Russell's going to re-overtake Verstappen now on the circuit, there's no sort of issue there. Surely they should just continue on with the racing. Gap up at the front, 1.2 seconds. Piastri's doing a almighty job of managing this race from the front, and incredible. Here comes Nico Hülkenberg. Hülkenberg's closing up to the back of Lewis Hamilton here. This could get very, very exciting. In the Sauber, that would be a little bit embarrassing, really, for the Ferrari team getting overtaken by a Sauber, but let's wait and see. Verstappen is really struggling out there on those hard tyres. Hülkenberg's got DRS on Lewis Hamilton. He's gaining. Hamilton only has a certain amount of K1 that he can press as the overtake button to defend against the Hulk. But yeah, they've got both of them got Ferrari engine. Hülkenberg slightly fresher tyres. And the Saubers have been the quickest down the straights for quite a while, especially this season. They typically go for a low downforce setup. So here they are coming out of the final corner. Nico Hülkenberg with a DRS on Lewis Hamilton and George Russell with a DRS on Max Verstappen. Here they are in towards turn 1. Russell looks to the inside, but he's a little bit too far back. There's no point fighting this one all that hard. Oh, all right, that's P4 for Max Verstappen, and that's the championship slipping away from him. Really, every single position that he loses, his championship is slipping away. Verstappen over the radio again. I think he's just complaining. Really, purple first sector for Lando Norris. He's going to try and. He's going to try and close up to Piastri, but Piastri, he's had so much pace. He got the biggest qualifying margin as well. Every single qualifying session this season, the gap between first and second place has been less than 1/10 of a second or less than 1.5 tenths. Piastri yesterday got pole position compared to Lando Norris by 0.2 of a second. A monstrous lap from Piastri, and he's got some serious pace around this circuit. All right, George Russell again, this time getting really, really close, practically pushing Verstappen through turn number 10, and he is right on his tail now, and Russell's complaining, what the F, don't know, mate. So Verstappen getting and he gives the position back. He gives the position to George Russell. I think it was a little bit unfair, and Verstappen concedes that one. Here comes Nico Hülkenberg now. On the previous lap, the gap was 0.6 of a second as they came out of the final corner. On this lap, it's 3.5 tenths. Nico Hülkenberg's got the DRS up wide open. Hamilton hasn't got DRS from ahead of him. He's got a slipstream. Hülkenberg looks to the inside. Hamilton doesn't fight it. Hülkenberg up into 6th position. Fantastic job from Nico. And maybe he'll even overtake Max Verstappen. Who knows? The pace of that Max has been dropping down the field. I mean, it was a very, very bad strategy call. They had a fantastic strategy all throughout the race and then screwed it all up and put him on a set of hard tyres. I mean, they should have just left him out on the softs, and he would have been leading the race at least from the front and then trying to defend against Piastri. Would have made it all the more exciting. Oh my god, it looked like Verstappen was giving the position to Russell and then sort of misjudged his braking or something and then just crashed into him. I don't know what happened there, but an incident has been noted for causing a collision. If Verstappen gets a penalty for that one, that's going to be very costly because everyone is super duper bunched up. A 5-second time penalty will drop him down from 5th position all the way to 9th position. All right, here comes Nico Hülkenberg then. He's going to try and catch up to Max Verstappen. Verstappen has got DRS on George Russell. He's just within... Russell's got damage. So that's going to slow him down. And it looks like Charles Leclerc's set for this P3. He is, quite a ways back from Norris. But if Russell's got damage and Verstappen's on hards, it's looking good for Charles Leclerc. All right, Isaac Hadjar's now on the back of Lewis Hamilton. Hamilton's really struggling. He's on fresh soft tyres, the same as everyone else. It's the final lap of the race here, ladies and gentlemen. We're getting very close to 170k subs. If we don't hit it, then I won't do a giveaway, but it's up to you guys. All right. Piastri is 2.5 seconds clear. Incredible from him. And Verstappen is now so close to George Russell. Russell's got damage. Verstappen is attacking as hard as he can. It's still under investigation. Surely they've got to sort this penalty situation out very, very quickly. Otherwise, we're going to get a penalty awarded no further action. Okay, we've just been told by the FIA, no further action between Russell and Verstappen. That's okay. And this is it then. Oscar Piastri comes out of the final sector now. He has led a fantastic race. He got pole position by the biggest margin yesterday. He comes out of the final corner. This is win number 5 for Oscar Piastri this season. Oscar Piastri wins the Spanish Grand Prix. Fantastic drive from him. We've got Lando Norris in second place. It's a McLaren 1-2. They're 7 seconds ahead of the competition, even when there was safety car 6 laps ago. Charles Leclerc in third place. George Russell in fourth. Max Verstappen in fifth position. Nico Hülkenberg in P6. What a drive for Nico Hülkenberg. Lewis Hamilton in 7th place. Isaac Hadjar in 8th position. Pierre Gasly in 9th, and Fernando Alonso scores points. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, he's ended his points drought. He scores 1 point, ending up in P10, and he'll be happy to end out the Spanish Grand Prix with at least a point. It's a hard-earned point there for Fernando Alonso. Well done. And they're just switching out now onto the warm-up. All right, wow, incredible. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you everyone for hitting the like button, subscribing. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Yeah, absolutely incredible race so far. I must say it's been brilliant. So very much is appreciated. And driver of the day I think goes to Max Verstappen according to the actual poll, but my personal driver of the day for sure is Nico Hülkenberg. And I think a really exciting race as well. Oh no, Verstappen, 10-second penalty for Max Verstappen causing a collision. Ladies and gentlemen, Verstappen drops down into 10th place. That's not his championship over just yet, but that he has gone from scoring 12 points all the way down to scoring 1. Oh my goodness me. Max Verstappen has I'll put the championship standings up on the screen here, but the championship has been thrown wide open, and Verstappen looks like he's no longer in the fight. Look at that gap. Okay. Oh my goodness me, 10 seconds for causing a collision. I mean, it was very strange what he did. I don't know exactly what he was doing, to be honest. But in fact, Verstappen's very annoyed. Oh my God. He doesn't even do the cool down lap properly. He just drives around quickly back into the pits. He looks like he's very, very angry. Yeah, look, everyone's driving around slowly. Fernando Alonso's waving to all the fans. Piastri's waving to the fans as well. The McLarens are driving home in formation. Max Verstappen's already parked it in the grid into the pit lane. Wow. Okay. That's it. The data's frozen, but the main thing now, look at the championship here. So Colapinto, in last position, of course, after replacing Jack Doohan. But Oscar Piastri is in first place, 186 points, 10 points ahead of Lando Norris. Verstappen, 137 points. That is a gap of more than 37 points. 38 points is the gap between those. 39 points is the gap between Verstappen and Norris. Oh, no. Yeah, things have not gone well. Things have not gone well there for Max. Oh, Verstappen's pissed. All right. Thank you everyone for tuning in. I'm doing a little bit of a post-race show. I mean, I'm probably going to end in about 5 minutes or so. But normally, quite a lot of people have asked me to stick around. One reason that I don't stick around is because the YouTube algorithm doesn't particularly like it when you see like a large number of people drop off the stream pretty much straight away. But for you guys to sort of rectify that and help the channel, as long as you hit the like button and the reminder button for the Canadian Grand Prix stream, the algorithm gets offset and it's all good. But, for the past 4 years of commentary, I pretty much end right after the stream finishes because of the algorithm. Hopefully, with loads of you watching and with so many loyal supporters and stuff, as long as you guys hit the like button and the reminder button for the Canadian Grand Prix stream, it offsets all of the negative stuff in the algorithm. I'll put the Constructors' Championship up as well. Just give me a second. Yeah, that's the Constructors' standings. It's first position for McLaren, 43 points gained for them. Ferrari in second place, they gained 23 points. Mercedes in third after gaining 12 points. And then Red Bull only gained 1 point, a singular point from Max Verstappen. And that is that. All right. We're 25 subscribers away from our sub target, so I think we will hit it. But thanks everyone for hitting the like button. Thanks everyone for subscribing. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. And yeah, all of the drivers out of the way. Everyone's very, very happy. Win number 5 for Oscar Piastri. This guy is incredible, really. The pace difference that he had against Norris, the biggest that we've seen all season long. And do you still believe Max can win the World Drivers' Championship? I mean, the thing is, it's a long season. There are still 16 races left to go. 16 races is a long, long time. So there's always a chance of Piastri and Norris getting DNFs and Verstappen winning the race, which would close the gap up again. But it now relies heavily on luck. We've just hit 170k. Thank you everyone for hitting the subscribe button. Puts us on track for 200k by the end of the season. So very much is appreciated. 200k, not the end of the season, 200k by the midpoint of the season. But yeah, Oscar Piastri just comes out, doesn't even celebrate all that much. He's just doing his thing, getting weighed on the weighing machine, and he's nice and happy. So, Ethan, thanks for the £10 donation. Safety car to throw the race in the air. Indeed, the safety car really did mix things up. Thank you, Kimi Antonelli. Would like to give you a big shout out there for making the final couple of laps of this race very exciting. But yeah, that's all from me, really, folks. We've looked through the championship standings. Verstappen have got a lot of work to do. Tsunoda's going to not be using an experimental setup next weekend, or in 2 weekends' time for Canada. Stroll should be back in time for Canada. If not, then maybe Felipe Drogovic. And if Felipe Drogovic is taking part in the 24 Hours of Le Mans, then it will be maybe Valtteri Bottas driving for Aston Martin next weekend. We'll obviously get that confirmed later on. Verstappen, we're going to hear some very, very angry comments over the radio, in the press from him. So, yeah, I guess we'll see, really. Ferrari, though, Charles Leclerc gets a podium. Fantastic for Charles Leclerc. Ferrari fans must be very pleased with that one. And, Lewis Hamilton, unfortunately, is 3 positions back in 3rd place. So that's his 3rd podium for Charles Leclerc. You got one in Monaco, of course, and then got one in Saudi Arabia. Great drive from Mr. Charles Leclerc. Okay, so thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. And we're going to have a very exciting Canadian Grand Prix in the next couple of, in 2 weeks' time. So just to sort of offset the sort of harm that's happened in the algorithm from the stream dropping from 50,000 people to 20,000 people, as long as everyone could hit the like button and the reminder button on the Canadian Grand Prix stream, it really does help out the channel. So once the stream ends now, it will suggest to you to click onto the Canadian Grand Prix stream. If you could do that, that would very much be appreciated. But that's been all from me, really. What a fantastic race that we've had here in Spain. More than 50 overtakes for sure. Lots of action from start to finish. Oscar Piastri, win number 5. Very, very pleased with his performance, I'm sure. And things are on the up for McLaren. And Alonso scores 2 points as well. Fantastic for him. He obviously gets promoted by the 10-second penalty from Max, and he goes up into 1 point there for Fernando Alonso. Okay. So it's been a pleasure commentating to you guys. Have a wonderful morning, day, afternoon, evening, or night, depending on where you are in the world. And if you guys could hit the like button for the Canadian Grand Prix stream, it will keep the algorithm going in the channel's favour. But that's all from me. That is all from me. So I will see you in 2 weeks' time for the Canadian Grand Prix. And yeah, hope the commentary was good. See you later. Bye bye, folks. Just Surfshark VPN, if you guys want to check that out, the links for that in the description. And then just the Canadian Grand Prix stream. Like and reminder button. Bye bye.